Chapter 997. The warrior saint bloodline is extremely talented in the field of martial arts. Cultivating combat skills is as easy as eating and drinking. There are almost no bottlenecks in the cultivation of combat skills. Every combat skill that is cultivated to the peak will continue to transform and improve as time passes in the hands of the warrior saint. It is said that some of the legendary orange tier combat skills in the Sacred Boundary were created by a few warrior saints in the Sacred Boundary's history. They are amazing and will be passed down through the ages. Lin Chin stroked his chin and smiled. As expected, this girl has her own recharge rune. She is indeed my disciple. Ha ha ha. When a martial saint's bloodline cultivator cultivated a martial art to perfection, their innate talent would gradually deepen and continuously change the might of this martial art. They would be able to unleash a might that was double, even triple, or even more than its original grade. This effect was similar to Lin Chen's recharge rune. The combat skill's power would be doubled. This was also why Shanling Shuang was able to break through Ada Gu's most powerful attack in the 4th round of the elimination round with a top-level purple tier leg technique. This bloodline talent was so powerful that it could only be displayed when cultivating an orange tier combat skill. Not to mention, Shanling Shuang was very likely to have the warrior saint bloodline. As a result, when Shanling Shuang used the War Demon Burning Sky Fist, the power bonus was equivalent to a level 6 charge rune, or even higher. When such a powerful attack landed on Zhang Suntianyao weak point, how could he not be severely injured? No, something is wrong. Even the warrior saint bloodline can't cultivate so fast. Moreover, the warrior saint bloodline will only fully awaken after 100 years old. This girl is not at that age yet. Did she use golden saint origin coins? That's impossible. Even if she used golden saint origin coins, it's impossible to cultivate a half-orange tier combat skill to perfection in such a short time. The Saint Realm powerhouses were discussing this with each other in private. They felt that the secret behind this was too big. In the Sacred Boundary, those with the bloodline of God were known as the true children of God, and they were the true descendants of God. This was not the fake God's bloodline that the criminals of the 9 prefectures' holy prison claimed to have, but the real Son of God. In the Sacred Boundary, the Son of God had always been a legend, an existence that reigned supreme over everything. There were very few records about the Son of God. However, it was impossible for an unawakened martial god's bloodline to be this ridiculous. Compared to the experienced and knowledgeable Sage Realm experts, the tens of thousands of geniuses were not so calm. A large number of geniuses had doubtful expressions on their faces, as if they were about to go crazy. Was there any justice left in this world? Mastering a half-orange grade technique in 3 days? Do you think this is embroidery? Embroidery? Even storytellers wouldn't dare to boast like that. The only possibility was that Shanling Shuang had been holding back. She had learned this skill from the very beginning. However, although she did not suffer heavy injuries in the battle against Ada Gu, she had narrowly escaped death. If it was for the sake of preserving her strength, then she had fought too hard and almost lost her slot. No matter what, it was too difficult for everyone to accept that Shanling Shuang had learned a half-orange grade combat skill in such a short time. Lan Ruoxue looked at Lin Chun in amazement. Mo Qing was amazed, and his heart was in turmoil. How'd he do it? This scene was too King familiar. It was exactly the same as when the members of the Black Horse Club learned the Vanishing Shadow Flying Dagger. It was also mastering a cultivation technique in an extremely short time and reaching the state of perfection. Could it be that not only are the members of the Black Horse Club all 8th grade alchemists, but they are also all martial saint bloodlines? I can't see through him. I can't see through this Lin Chin at all. It's too strange. Mo Qing shook his head. He was looking forward to what kind of shocking waves this young man would stir up next. Then, a scene that made the scalps of countless geniuses tingle appeared. Lin Che held the remaining 7.5 orange-gray cultivation techniques with a smile on his face and smiled dotingly at disciple Shun. Good disciple, come, tell Master What do you want to learn next? Is it this instant rainbow, this 17 absolutes, or this collection of the standalone King's novels? Ever since you chose me as your master, Big Sister won't worry about your cultivation anymore. Just point out whatever you don't know. The genius's mouths twitched wildly. Crazy. He must be crazy. You F***King learned a half-orange grade combat skill on the spot? Are you crazy, or is the world crazy? Ning Qing Xian covered her mouth and chuckled. Her beauty was indescribable. Then I'll learn this instant rainbow. After making his choice, the brilliant and colorful jade scroll in Lin Shen's palm turned into a stream of light and entered between his eyebrows. All the geniuses held their breaths. Is he serious? Many sage cultivators were puzzled. Did he put this cultivation technique into his storage ring? Why did it disappear? How could he let his disciple cultivate like this? Cultivation technique, soul, essence consumption doubled. Consuming 76 advanced cultivation technique, soul essences, beginning to fuse the cultivation memories of the selected target. Lin Shun used his battle aura to transmit his voice. Little girl, begin to use the power of your bloodline again. As soon as he finished speaking, a sea of cultivation memories poured into Shun Lingshuang's mind. She immediately entered a meditative cultivation state and received a large amount of cultivation memories with ease. As a possessor of the Einherjar bloodline, even if her bloodline hadn't fully awakened, her understanding and cultivation of combat skills far surpassed Lin Shen's. Therefore, while fusing the cultivation memories, Shun Lingshuang was also constantly deducing this half-orange grade instant rainbow movement technique. She wanted to master it to the most suitable state for herself. It had the same effect as when Lin Shun consumed the purple-green path understanding fruit. This was Shun Lingshuang's peerless talent. Half-orange grade techniques were already extremely difficult to cultivate, and movement techniques were even more difficult. However, Shun Lingshuang was now unstoppable. Wong. Shun Lingshuang's bloodline emitted waves of mysterious bloodline energy. When the Einherjar bloodline's talent was activated, it would produce cultivation technique soul essences. This was a phenomenon that Lin Shun had seen when he first met her. Helping Lingshuang learn combat skills, I can even obtain more advanced cultivation technique soul essences from her. Not only will I not lose out, but I will also make a fortune. This kind of good fortune can make me laugh out loud, even in my dreams. Lin Shun took the attribute light ball from the little girl and sighed. Shun Lingshuang couldn't use the Einherjar bloodline to learn combat skills all the time. The consumption was huge, so Lin Shun wouldn't use this little girl as a tool to learn combat skills endlessly. It was fine to let her learn the most suitable technique for her. Seeing that Shun Lingshuang was really focused on cultivating, the geniuses held their breaths and were shocked. Could it be that she could really learn a half-orange grade technique in an extremely short period of time? In the first round of the top 10 battles, the geniuses on the Qilin platform appeared one after another. Many killer moves were revealed, and from time to time, dark horses at the bottom of the rankings would reveal shocking trump cards, stunning the entire audience. After 2 days and 1 night, the battles were completely over. The new genius ranking changes caused a new wave, and it continued to cause a huge commotion in the 36 domains. Only half of the 80 people had advanced to the top 40. Seiji Fuzumi announced that after a day of rest, the second round would begin the next day. The top 40 would advance to the top 20. On the morning of the third day, the battles began again. A new battle list appeared on the Holy Light ranking once again. The battle for the top 20 was a battle where enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Zhen Ingwe, 12250 from the Sun Moon Hall's Genius Ranking, versus Shun Lingshuang. Chapter 998. 12250. This ranking was 2,700 ranks higher than Zhang Sun Tianyao's. It was extremely difficult to advance in the top 20,000 ranks of the genius list. Geniuses who had reached this step had almost no qualitative changes, so it was extremely difficult for them to advance. With a difference of 2,700 ranks, Sun Moon Hall's Zhun Yingyue might be several times more difficult to deal with than Zhang Sun Tianyao. The purple-clothed beauty floated down. She had beautiful eyebrows and creamy skin. She was beautiful enough to captivate the birds and beasts. She had an exquisite figure that could be grasped with one's hand. However, the aloofness and arrogance between her eyebrows were too insufferably arrogant. It was as if she did not put the geniuses present in her eyes at all. The corners of her eyes were full of contempt. It seemed that all the geniuses of Sun Moon Hall were insufferably arrogant like her. Damn it, she's obviously so beautiful, but I can't like her at all. The geniuses of Sun Moon Hall are too arrogant. In comparison, Shunling Shuang is quite cute. It's impossible not to be arrogant. That's a 5th grade sect that is one of the top sects in the 36 regions. The difference between an ordinary 4th grade sect and a top 4th grade sect is huge. It's not like we haven't experienced it before, let alone the difference between a 5th grade sect and a top 5th grade sect. In a 5th grade sect, any of the core disciples of a 5th grade sect would be in the top 60,000 of the genius list. With her level and background, her trump cards should not be underestimated. It's very likely that she has some hidden trump cards. The genius's hearts were heavy. At this time, Shunling Shuang opened her eyes. She was full of energy, and with a leap, she jumped into the Qilin Cloud stage. Annoying aphids, you think you could be arrogant just because you have a little bit of talent? Let me crush you guys on behalf of my senior brother. Zhang Yue's lips curled into an extremely disdainful smile. She, who came from Sun Moon Hall, was not like those geniuses before her. Sun Moon Hall was a top 5th grade sect. How could the top 30 core disciples of this generation be ordinary? Why would he be afraid of her martial saint bloodline? Shun Lingshuang clenched her fists and snorted like an old man. Master said, life and death are nothing. If you don't accept it, do it. People like you are just asking for it. What the hell? Many of the prodigy's mouths twitched upon hearing this, and they all looked toward Lin Shun. How did this guy teach his disciple? Zhan Yingyue's brows twitched, and her face was as cold as frost. You are indeed jackals of the same tribe as that brat. A dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. Disgusting. Begin. Seiji Fuzumi gave the order, and the aura of the 2 men soared. Zhan Yingyue's battle chi took shape and suddenly released all of her battle chi. It suddenly pressed down and attacked Shun Lingshuang. Bang! Shun Lingshuang had predicted this in advance. Her figure transformed into an afterimage, and her battle chi shattered the Qilin Cloud platform. Her might was so overbearing that it caused everyone's expression to change. That battle chi actually condensed into a battle chi mountain in a flash, erupting with the power to fill the sea and suppress rivers. Zhan Yingyue flipped her delicate hand, and her 5 fingers clawed out battle chi cracks. The battle chi green mountain instantly exploded into a green wind claw. Shunling Shuang bent down and raised her fist. Her Earth Calamity battle chi was as stable as 1,000 mountains, and it broke the wind claw's weakness. Countless wind blades shot out along with the wind from the fist. Zhan Yingyue's body technique flashed, and she used a series of defensive battle techniques. She condensed a green light curtain around her body, blocking the rebounding wind blades and retreating at the same time. You don't even have a few decent battle techniques. What are you going to use to fight me? Talent? Huh. Zhan Yingyue sneered as she flicked her fingers, and her jade fingers rapidly pointed at the void dozens of times. Wind blades more than 100 feet long that blotted out the sky appeared and attacked Shun Lingshuang with the momentum of a violent storm. Countless prodigies' expressions were especially solemn. Zhan Yingyue's body technique, defense, and offensive battle techniques were all half orange grade, and her offense and defense were perfect. The extreme fall holy wind physique, derived from her 3rd grade sacred bloodline, was one of the top among 3rd grade sacred bloodlines. Shun Lingshuang dodged repeatedly, and she actually perfectly understood the weakness of this set of finger techniques and avoided the bombardment of the finger techniques. You're considered a little loach. How are you going to dodge next? Zhang Yingwei took out a rank 7 peak battle bow and pulled the bowstring. Her delicate body flickered with the light of 5 odd crystal fragments. These 5 odd crystal fragments were not something that Extreme Heaven Pavilion's Qin Shaoyin's low-grade odd crystal fragments could compare to. The energy was abnormally dense. When the wind attribute battle chi was condensed, she pulled the bowstring and the arrow shot out like a gust of wind, and its speed was as fast as a mystic light. It was another half-orange grade wind attribute arrow technique that was cultivated to perfection. Shun Ling Shuang relied on her bloodline talent to gradually enter the limit of evasion. She can't dodge it. Shun Ling Shuang is going to lose. The wind attribute arrow technique is simply like adding wings to a tiger. It's too fast, I'm dazzled. She can't throw that punch. Even if she breaks the weak point, it's useless, and it will leave a flaw. The difference in cultivation is too big. The genius list's early stage is already extremely strong. Her punch can only be unleashed with pure strength in close combat. But Zhang Yingwei obviously won't give her a chance to get close. The geniuses quickly saw the current situation. Shun Ling Shuang was going to lose. Even if she could break the weak point and reflect the attack, Zhang Yingwei also had extremely tyrannical defensive skills and movement skills that could cover her entire body. Boom! Hundreds of arrows were released, and the aurora-like arrow light enveloped Shun Ling Shuang. Everyone had the same thought in their minds. She was going to lose. This is the result of going against my Sun Moon Hall. Shoot her to death, junior sister Yingwei. The white-clothed man laughed wildly and looked at Lin Shan with contempt and disdain. At this critical moment, Lin Zhaoge smiled. Lass, let those idiots who mocked you see your ability. Boom! The hundreds of arrows missed their target and collided with each other, entangling with each other. What? Before anyone could come back to their senses, a fist came from behind Zhang Yingyu violently. Zhang Yingyu's heart skipped a beat, and she instinctively got goosebumps. She quickly activated her movement skills and defensive skills, and the green light screen rotated. Rip! Bang! Zhang Yingyu was fast, but Shun Ling Shuang was even faster. A Ward Demon Burning Heaven fist suddenly pierced through her green light barrier. Her defensive battle technique was broken, and the green jade-colored vest armor she was wearing also began to crack. Zhang Yingyu spat out blood and retreated, her eyes filled with horror. How is this possible? Whoosh! Another 5-colored rainbow flashed, and Shun Ling Shuang appeared above her head. It was the familiar formula, the familiar punch. It was a hammer to the top of her head. Zhang Yingyu was caught off guard. She raised her bow to block, but Shun Ling Shuang's punch broke the bow. The punch penetrated, and she spat out blood again. At the same time, Zhang Yingyu spat out blood and clenched her teeth. She tore a battle aura blade with her left hand and slashed at Shun Ling Shuang. Shun Ling Shuang's afterimage shattered into a beautiful 5-colored rainbow. In the next moment, she appeared behind Zhang Yingyu. Hiss! All the geniuses gasped. There was no mistake, it was a half-orange grade movement skill. Zhang Yingyu specialized in wind elemental battle, aura, and speed. At least a half-orange grade movement skill was needed to catch up to Zhang Yingyu's insane speed. During the Heavenless tournament, she had cultivated 2 half-orange grade techniques to perfection in a row. How is this possible? How'd she teach this? This wasn't just the disciple being insane. This master was also a monster. This master and disciple pair was ridiculous. Chapter 999. How is he supposed to teach her to master a half-orange grade technique in just a few days? Even a saint couldn't do that. All the geniuses felt their scalps go numb. Was she still human? This pair of master and disciple were probably inhumane. Wasn't she a monster? Yes, hit her. F***CK. Hit her from behind. Master Lin shouted excitedly outside the arena. Hit her, don't hold back. Hit her in the ass. What did I teach you? If you can hit her from behind, don't hit her from the front. Kill her. All the geniuses' mouths twitched. How is that possible? How did she master such an exquisite technique so quickly. Zhang Yue's technique flashed and retreated rapidly. Her finger techniques exploded, and her battle aura turned into claws that tore through the air. Sometimes it turned into battle aura that crushed down like a mountain. However, all these attacks were broken by Shun Lingshuang one by one. Her counterattack was getting more and more intense. With a half-orange grade technique, Shun Lingshuang's combat power had a qualitative leap. Strictly speaking, Shun Lingshuang's speed was slightly slower than Zhang Yue's. However, she was able to predict Zhang Yue's movement trajectory and direction almost every time. Together with the short-range, explosive speed and agility of Shocking Rainbow, she was able to seize the initiative every time and fight at close range. She was able to fully utilize her advantage in pure strength. If she was described as a fierce little tiger before, then she was now a little tigress with wind-fire wheels. Ridiculous. On one hand, it was because Zhang Yue's state of mind was severely unstable. She was suddenly crushed, and her state of mind was shaken. As a result, she was defeated. Zhang Yue couldn't even last 90 rounds. In the end, she was beaten by Shun Lingshuang until she lost all her killing moves. She surrendered in a panic and was covered in blood. It was sad and tragic. The white-clothed man in Sun Moon Hall's face was extremely ugly. It was as if he had eaten feces last night. He was green with a hint of purple. This little guy really did it. How did he teach that lass? In such a short time, she perfectly mastered a half-orange grade technique. Oh my God, even the sages were amazed. Even Wan Jin and the others were shocked and fearful. The people from the Black Horse Club were really scary. They had to eliminate this Lin Chun. Otherwise, it wouldn't be long before he would become their #1 enemy. The first contestant, Shun Lingshuang, entered the top 20 with her head held high. Next, she only needed to win one more round to enter the top 10 and obtain a place in the top 10. The geniuses were dumbfounded as they watched Shun Lingshuang return to Lin Chen's side bashfully. Before they could say anything, Lin Chun took out the remaining 6 half-orange grade techniques. All the geniuses, F***CK. The top 40 would advance to the top 20 in a single round, and the matches would be fought one after another. In the top 40, except for Shun Lingshuang, no one ranked lower than 15,000. At this level, every battle was a classic battle, a confrontation and collision that only belonged to peak geniuses. Shun Lingshuang entered the state of cultivation as usual. Many geniuses were shocked. Could it be that she could cultivate another half-orange grade technique? At the same time, Lin Chen also began to observe inside the Taoyuan plant pouch. After absorbing tens of thousands of burning flame pearls, the Long Qing Shu and clear jade tree finally produced 13 fire-type odd crystal fragments. These 13 fire-type odd crystal fragments were equivalent to 1/6 the size of a complete odd crystal, and their quality was above average. There was a misconception about odd crystal fragments. 1/6 of a complete odd crystal fragments didn't have 1/6 of the energy of a complete odd crystal. The value of a lower-grade complete odd crystal was 1,000. 1/10 of a fragment might only have a value of 10 to 20 and not 10% of 100. If there was a fragment that was half the size of a complete odd crystal, the remaining value might reach 100 to 200, which was more than 10 times more than 1/10 of a fragment. When an odd crystal was broken into fragments, the energy would be greatly dissipated, and it would be fortunate to retain 10% to 20%. The more complete the fragment was, the more energy would be left. My pure gold tree has finally entered the peak stage. I can find enough free time to try to cultivate a complete odd crystal. Lin Chan was excited, but he didn't refine these 13 odd crystal fragments immediately. It seemed that he had other plans and uses amidst the cheering and heated discussion. The top 20 were born. Lin Chan withdrew his consciousness from the Taoyuan plant pouch. At this moment, after the heavenless battles, hundreds of Qilin cloud platforms and the void dropped a large number of attribute light balls and attribute treasure chests. There was no other reason. Firstly, to Lin Shun, the cultivation of the participating geniuses was extremely high, and even high-grade attribute values had a chance of dropping. Secondly, almost none of the participating geniuses would hold back too many trump cards. They all wanted to compete for the quota to Rainbow Island. In extreme battles, there were quite a number of people who would drop attribute light balls. Damn, I'm not a participant and can't get close to the Chilling Cloud platforms. How can I get those attribute light balls? The distance between each Chilling Cloud platforms is too far, and I can't rely on my cultivation method to attract them. Even if I release the Dragon Emperor, I can't get close to the Chilling Cloud platforms. Lin Shen's heart was itching. It was like a 1,000-year-old drunkard meeting a 10,000-year-old wine right in front of him, smelling the fragrance of the wine, but not being able to taste it. It was also like a 100-year-old bachelor meeting a 1,000-year-old beauty, stripping naked to the bedside, but not being able to get on the bed. Horizontal scroll, it's so uncomfortable. His cultivation method was only limited to growth-type attribute light balls. Non-growth-type attribute light balls, such as Heaven Path points, Strengthening points, and attribute treasure chests still had to be touched to obtain them. Moreover, there was a specific distance to absorb attribute light balls, and Lin Shan was too far away. Rumble. Many names began to appear on the Holy Light rankings. Everyone held their breaths. What kind of genius confrontation would be set off this time? Genius List 10351 Yu Fangxian versus Genius List 10299 Huang Yintian. Genius List 12250 Shun Lingshuang versus Genius List 10099 Orient Yao. Genius List. The crowd was in an uproar. Shun Lingshuang versus Orient Yao? This was too explosive. Warrior Saint Bloodline versus Heaven Swallowing Sword? The insufferably arrogant Orient Yao revealed a hint of mockery and killing intent. This girl was definitely going to lose. Against Orient Yao, no matter how monstrous she would still die. Orient Yao's ranking was enough to rank in the top 30 among all the geniuses present. Most importantly, he had achieved this ranking 100 years ago. No one knew what kind of realm he had reached 100 years later. Kid, you can scram now. Your disciple is destined to meet me. You won't have a chance to enter Rainbow Island. Dongfang Yao clasped his hands behind his back, thinking that he was extraordinary. When he looked down at Lin Shun, his gaze was full of contempt. Lin Shun gave tit for tat and smiled. Young Master Dongfang, you're quite bold. Don't brag before the fight and talk reason after losing. I'm not interested in watching your clumsy performance. Chapter 1000. Orient Yao sneered and flicked his sleeves. He didn't say anything else, but his gaze was as if he was looking at feces on the side of the road. The first round began, and two geniuses entered the arena. Shun Lingshuang versus Orient Yao in the second round. The final round of the top 10 was indeed a battle of the pinnacle. Every round was so explosive that even the Sage Realm experts couldn't take their eyes off it. The top genius of the Western region, Yu Fangxian, versus the sword genius of Xuanyu, Huang Yuntian. Both of them had cultivated 5 types of half-orange grade combat skills to perfection and refined many odd crystal fragments, so their foundations were extremely strong. Yu Fangxian swallowed a Holy King Wind Body Crystal when he was young and was born with a Holy Body mutation. He was the king of Wind-type Battle Chi and had a pinnacle 3rd-grade Holy Bloodline. Later on, he obtained the immortal Holy Wind mental cultivation technique from his family's ancestral tomb. This mental cultivation technique had the potential to evolve into an orange-grade mental cultivation technique and could be said to be the best. And Huang Yintian was a rare sword genius of Xuanyu. It was rumored that he was the most trashy piece of trash in his family and was abandoned by his family. His parents were killed by scoundrels. He, who was bent on seeking death, threw himself into the sword abyss and coincidentally fell into an ancient sword ruin. After sleeping for 100 years, when an expert explored the ruin, he became the owner of the ruin. Thousands of sword techniques and 10 great sword Daos were awakened, and he was like a dragon swaying the winds and clouds. In order to avenge his parents, Huang Yuntian, who pursued the ultimate realm of Sword Dao, blinded himself and abandoned everything in the world. In the end, he became Xuanyu's eternal swordsman and entered the 5th grade Sword Saint Villa. The geniuses who were able to reach this stage were all peerless talents and were extremely lucky. They were 1 in a billion. The battle between Huang Yuntian and Yu Fangxian was extremely brilliant. After fighting for 12 hours and thousands of rounds, there was no clear victor. In the end, Huang Yuntian grasped the opportunity to comprehend the Sword Dao and comprehended the 11th Sword Dao, narrowly defeating Yu Fangxian with a slight advantage. This is so satisfying. This is a confrontation between top geniuses. My God, they're already so strong, but there are still 10,000 people stronger than them? That's ridiculous. After countless eras, more and more monsters have been born in the sacred boundary. If it was 1,000,000 years ago, such a level would be enough to enter the top 10,000 of the genius rankings. But the geniuses nowadays are getting more and more terrifying. The geniuses and Saint Realm experts side with mixed feelings. Then, the second battle began. Shenling Shuang versus Orient Yao. Orient Yao, the pride of the 100 Saints Gate. Shenling Shuang, the rarest saint bloodline, the holder of the martial saint bloodline. Suspected to be even higher? The timing is just right. Lin Shun snapped his fingers and released Shenling Shuang from the peach blossom pouch. This time, Shenling Shuang's change was slightly different. Some of the lower-ranked geniuses looked at Shenling Shuang with a piercing pain in their eyes. The aura emitted from her body was like a blazing sun. This little girl had broken through again. Almost everyone was sure that Shenling Shuang had grown under Lin Chen's training. This master is a little too scary. Lin Chen crossed his arms and smiled. Girl, do you still remember what your teacher taught you? Shenling Shuang bumped her fists together, and a charming but domineering smile appeared on her face. Life and death are insignificant. If you don't accept it, then fight. Whoosh! Orient Yao turned into a sword light and stepped into the arena with his sword. He smiled coldly. I will let you die with rhythm. My sword is fast enough. Shenling Shuang slowly walked into the arena, and the two stood still. The geniuses held their breaths. What kind of battle would this be? An instant kill? From a certain point of view, Shenling Shuang is already terrifyingly strong. Yes, many people have overlooked a problem. This little girl is only at the 4th tribulation level. It's almost impossible for people on the genius rankings to fight above their level. However, she managed to make it into the top 20. This result is enough to go down in history. Even if she forfeits, no one will say anything bad about her now. She has already proven herself with her strength. As long as she is given enough time, it is entirely possible for her to make it into the top 10,000. The geniuses felt sorry for Shenling Shuang. They could almost foresee the result of this battle. No one was optimistic about Shenling Shuang. Old man, how do you think this battle will turn out? Seiji Fuzumi, who was the referee, transmitted his voice to Saint One Eyebrow. To be honest, Shenling Shuang is extremely talented, but she is still young. I don't think she can fight against Orient Yao. This person is the strongest genius of the current generation of the 100 Saints Gate. He is a 4th grade saint bloodline talent. It is said that the old lunatic sword saint from the 100 Saints Gate even planted an 8th grade saint sword in his body. He is simply insane. Saint One Eyebrow shook his head. Seiji Fuzumi nodded and said, I think so too. Shenling Shuang has no chance. A 4th grade saint bloodline is completely different from a 3rd grade saint bloodline. Once a saint steps into the 4th grade saint realm, there will be a qualitative change. That is the realm that both of us old men have been pursuing for our entire lives. Saint One Eyebrow smiled and said, That's right. That's why I'm optimistic about Shenling Shuang. Seiji Fuzumi was stunned. Why is this old man not playing by the rules? You believe that this little girl's bloodline is of a higher grade? The bloodline of the Einer Jar? Saint One Eyebrow shook his head. This is secondary. The bloodline of the Einherjar will not reveal too much talent before the age of 100 years. I don't believe in this little girl, but that young man. Saint One Eyebrow's gaze fell on Lin Shun, who was sitting in the seats far away. My premonition is basically correct. The power that this young man has might be far beyond our expectations. Clang! Sword aura soared into the sky, and rays of glazed light rose from Orient Yao's back. He had actually pulled out a sword from his spine. Boom! First comes the east, then comes the sky. Let me show you the might of the Dongfeng family's swordsmanship. Orient Yao exuded a domineering aura as he held his sword high in the air. Outside the Qilin cloud platform, everyone could clearly feel the sharpness of the glazed sword. It seeped into their limbs and bones, and there was a brilliant holy aura. An 8th grade sword, and it was a complete 8th grade sword. Even if it could only unleash a small portion of its power, it was enough to crush countless peak 7th grade weapons. F***CK. He pulled out a sword from his body. Lin Shun was dumbfounded. The geniuses from 100 Saints Gate all looked at him with disdain and contempt. Then, Lin Shun's next sentence almost made them vomit blood. Is this the legendary unity of the lowly and despicable? Commonly known as the realm of the lowly and despicable? Admirable, admirable. I concede defeat. In terms of lowly and despicable people, I, Chun, am willing to call you the lowliest. The geniuses sitting near the 100 Saints Gate laughed crazily. F***CK. If it weren't for the fact that we can't fight here, I would have torn his stinky mouth apart. This is too F***king infuriating. Using an 8th grade sword as soon as they meet. Orient Yao is going to kill him. His sword aura is too strong. He doesn't even need to use this killer move against Shun Lingshuang. Too ruthless. While the geniuses were speechless, the saint gave the order. Begin. Chapter 1001. Rumble. At that moment, the wind and clouds on the Qilin Cloud stage suddenly changed. The light dimmed as countless rays of light were swallowed by Orient Yao's sword. Shun Lingshuang's slender body was instantly pulled over by the terrifying suction force of the glazed sword. This strange sword technique had perfectly sealed off her path of retreat. Apart from the suppression of her cultivation level, she could only face his sword. Go to hell, Orient Yao shouted coldly as he slashed out with his sword. A floating azure glaze, sword light, slashed out. At first glance, it seemed weak and powerless. However, when they realized what was happening, the sword light had already reached Shun Lingshuang. Chi! Rip! The sword light shattered Shun Lingshuang's colorful afterimage. She dodged it. No, she didn't dodge it completely. The sword light is too powerful. Even its afterimage could kill a 5th Tribulation Combat Emperor. Shun Lingshuang didn't have a strong defense. She was seriously injured by this attack. While the geniuses were exclaiming, a petite and slender afterimage flashed in front of Orient Yao. It was Shun Lingshuang. She retracted her fist. Her whole body was surrounded by battle chi and fire glass. She wasn't injured at all. Shun Lingshuang's war demon burning sky fist suddenly exploded and bombarded Orient Yao's chest, creating a shocking wave of fire. Orient Yao's inner armor was broken. He retreated step by step, and his eyes were filled with shock. All the geniuses were shocked. Damn, is this another half-orange grade cultivation method and half-orange grade defensive combat skill? Countless people looked at Lin Shun in horror. This is so F***king ridiculous. How can she master 3 half-orange grade combat skills in such a short time? Damn, don't F***king stop me. I want to be his disciple. Leader Lin, are you still accepting disciples? Celestial Immortal Lin, please save this kid. I've been learning for more than 20 years, and I've only learned the basics of the cultivation method of my sect. Almost all of them were wailing and exclaiming, begging Lin Fan to accept them as his disciple. What kind of monstrous talent is this? Back then, when I studied the Myriad Moon's Azure Dragon Saber technique, it took me nearly 10 years to get a basic understanding of it. Yu Qingli's eyes trembled as she stared at Lin Chen's back. Her heart was in turmoil. How did this little monster do it? This is too ridiculous. Poison Sage Yuan's face twitched. Even a sage expert wouldn't be able to compare to 1% of this little monster's comprehension speed. However, before the first wave had subsided, another wave arose. Orient Yao, who was shocked, immediately adjusted his momentum. His sword Qi swept out and shattered the aftershocks of the fist wind. Shun Lingshuang's exquisite little legs stomped on the stage, causing the ground to shake. Crouching Inferno Demon Dragon. Tens of thousands of fire dragons shot out of the ground in the form of a fiery coiling dragon. With a furious roar, the dragon twisted its body and trapped Orient Yao inside the Battle Chi dragon. Whoosh! Whoosh! When the sword-light cut through the fiery coiling dragon, the dragon immediately burst into flames and turned into a meteor shower that fell from the Qilin cloud platform. Even so, the violent fiery battle Qi still burned Orient Yao until he was in a sorry state. Its power was not inferior to the War Demon Burning Sky fist at all. The geniuses were dumbfounded. The participating geniuses were also dumbfounded. What was going on? Another half-orange grade combat technique? Four half-orange grade combat techniques that had been perfected. The sages were dumbfounded. They looked at Shun Lingshuang and then at Lin Shun as if they had seen a ghost. Be it a great saint, a great teacher, or a saint master of a generation, they were not even worthy of carrying this living deity's shoes. They were really unworthy. It had only been half a month since the Heaven List tournament began. It was impossible for his disciple to learn so many half-orange grade combat techniques in half a month. Half a month was more than enough time to learn a top-tier purple grade combat technique. The demonic young man who led all the geniuses from Sun Moon Hall here said coldly, "Are you kidding me? Who is this kid? Even my Sun Moon Hall doesn't have such a background." The battle between the two became more and more intense. Orient Yao used many trump cards and ultimate sword techniques, but he still could not suppress Shun Lingshuang. It seemed like they were on par with each other. War Demon Burning Sky Fist. A Desolation Slash. Fiery Dragon Kill. Shun Lingshuang was well aware of all of Dongfeng Yao's offensive weaknesses and flaws. Her movement technique could be used to attack, retreat, and defend. Her half-orange rank defensive skill, Thousand Layers of Flame Curtain, could prevent the aftershock of that rank 8 sword from injuring her. Two half-orange grade combat techniques, War Demon Burning Sky Fist and Crouching Fiery Dragon, were used in turns. One was in the light, and the other was in the dark. They were responsible for strong attacks and sneak attacks respectively, making Orient Yao extremely embarrassed. Shun Lingshuang's Fire Calamity battle aura seemed to be endless. After a long battle, Orient Yao was actually at a disadvantage. After more than 300 rounds of fierce battle, the two of them separated temporarily. Both of them were injured, and Orient Yao consumed healing elixirs to quickly recover from his injuries. Shun Lingshuang's injuries were not light either, but her skin that was cut by the sword aura was recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. If Orient Yao's recovery speed was fast, then Shun Lingshuang's recovery speed was really fast. She was recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Shun Lingshuang's cheeks were puffed up like a hamster, and she chewed from time to time. "Look, this girl's cheeks are so puffed up. I suddenly have a bold idea. Puff your head. She can turn you into a muggle with one punch." What's in her mouth? Elixirs? No, it's not elixirs. It's Long Qingguo. Lin Shun has a Long Qingshu spiritual plant of providence. It's a holy healing item. Damn, isn't she cheating? As long as she's not seriously injured or fatally, she can recover quickly. Moreover, Long Qingguo has a miraculous effect of strengthening one's body. Look at this girl. Her punches are getting fiercer and fiercer. She's insane. The geniuses were even more amazed. Having a Long Qingguo at such a critical moment was the key to determining the outcome of the battle. Seeing this girl's recovery speed, Orient Yao's mouth twitched violently. Damn it, Long Qingguo is extremely rare. Even with the foundation of the 100 Saints Gate, I can only buy a handful of them. They're all used in life-saving situations. Orient Yao also had a few long Qingguo, but they were all treasures used in life-saving situations. He couldn't eat them like Shunling Shuang. Chi. A bloody wound appeared on Orient Yao's arm, and his expression didn't look good. It was very simple. He couldn't use a level 8 holy sword for a long period of time. This was the difference in cultivation. If the battle dragged on, he would definitely be at a disadvantage. If he used a level 8 holy sword, he couldn't fight thousands of rounds like Yu Fangxian and Huang Yintian. Otherwise, the sharpness of the holy sword would definitely backfire on its owner. However, if he were to use an ordinary peak 7th grade sword, the chances of him injuring Shunling Shuang would be even lower with the help of a martial saint's bloodline. This little girl has a large number of long Qingguo. It's impossible to fight a long battle. Let's end it quickly. Orient Yao bit the tip of his tongue and smeared a mouthful of essence blood on the sword. Buzz! The colored glaze holy light instantly shone on the holy sword. A dragon-shaped sword aura coiled around the sword like an evil dragon was born from a sword. The terrifying sharpness made the Qilin cloud platform tremble. This sword was planted in his body by his master. The sword was fused with his body and connected to his bloodline. If he died, the sword would shatter. If the sword was destroyed, the person would die. If Orient Yao could break through to the Saint Realm, this sword would definitely be stronger and more agile than ordinary holy swords. Powered by a 4th grade holy bloodline's essence blood, the power of the next sword would be extremely terrifying. Senior brother is actually forced to this point. This sword is senior brother Dongfang's strongest sword. He actually has to use this sword to deal with Shunling Shuang. The faces of the geniuses from the 100 Saints Gate changed slightly. You have a trump card. Master also prepared one for me. Shunling Shuang giggled. With a shake of her shoulders, 10,000 true flames gushed out. The dazzling light was like a blazing sun rising into the sky. At this moment, the faces of all the geniuses and saints changed. Shunling Shuang's body flashed with 13 fire element odd crystal fragments. 13. Lin Shen put on his self-made sunglasses and pretended to be shocked as he patted his chest. That was close. Fortunately, I reacted quickly enough. Who's acting cool? It's too dazzling. Chapter 1002. 13 odd crystal fragments. Each of them is of very good quality. This girl didn't refine any odd crystal fragments before. How is this possible? Could it be that she refined 13 odd crystal fragments while learning 4 half-orange combat skills? The saints were dumbfounded, let alone the 60,000 geniuses present. Refining odd crystal fragments wasn't difficult for the top 40,000 geniuses. They didn't even need the help of their family elders. But to refine 13 odd crystal fragments in one go, unless one was a saint or a genius in the top 10,000 on the genius list, it was impossible. Even the top 10,000 geniuses wouldn't be able to do it so quickly. How could one become so fat in one go? May I ask Lin Shun, how did you do it? An old voice came from the void, shocking all the geniuses. The sage realm expert had spoken. Even a saint couldn't help but be curious. Refining odd crystal fragments? You can do it if you want to. 13 is considered a small matter, but it can't be considered a small matter. It seems a little too arrogant. It means medium. Lin Chun chuckled. Many geniuses almost exploded when they heard him say medium. Lin Chun was able to let Shun Ling Shuang master 13 odd crystal fragments so quickly because of his clones. The master-disciple pair had the same mental cultivation method, and their understanding of the 9 calamities of creation had reached the acme of perfection. The 9 heavenly battle physiques naturally restrained and fused the energy of the odd crystal fragments, and with the 5 clones assisting Shunling Shuang, the refining speed was even more terrifying. When Shunling Shuang fused the cultivation memories of 2 half-orange techniques, she also completed the process of refining the odd crystal fragments. I have taught over 1,000 disciples, but it can't compare to Lin Shun. Why are you so outstanding? Another Saint Realm expert exclaimed. Because Lin Shun wanted to say something, but everyone was distracted and looked at him. Because the most handsome person in the sacred boundary is so outstanding. So what if you have 13 odd crystal fragments? Die. Orient Yao raised his sword and slashed vertically. The sword aura of the coiling dragon that was revolving around the holy sword slashed out from the tip of the sword. The 100 feet long coiling dragon attacked furiously, tearing the clouds apart. Whoosh! Boom! Boom! Inside the Qilin cloud stage, faint ripples appeared in the air. The sound of air being torn apart could be heard everywhere. Explosions swept up in the sky, and the light became dim and distorted. This sword had completely surpassed the realm of a fifth calamity battle emperor. The sword Qi was imbued with a tyrannical devouring power. It was as if everything in the Qilin cloud stage had been sucked dry. There was no way to completely avoid it. Shun Lingshuang's slender body was sucked over. Her delicate face was full of solemnity as she gathered her strength and clenched her fist. With her left hands wore demon-burning heaven fist, and her right hand's crouching flame dragon. She had perfectly fused the two techniques. Her fists were like a violent storm as they poured out. I will let Master enter Rainbow Island. The energy of the 13 odd crystal fragments was mobilized to the extreme. A fire calamity flame dragon was formed from the fist wind, and a spiral of burning flame fist print slammed into the coiling dragon sword Qi. Boom! 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 The fire calamity flame dragon and the spiral of burning flame fist print counteracted the coiling dragon sword Qi. The sound of air exploding and the series of explosions were heard as the spirit energy quickly evaporated like water vapor. Not good. I can't hold on any longer. Ning Qingshuan's face changed slightly. Even though Shan Lingshuang had hit the flaw of the sword, the difference in cultivation between the two sides was too great. In addition, Shan Lingshuang was fighting barehanded while the opponent had a holy sword in hand. The martial god bloodline couldn't reverse this difference in power. If this blow didn't hit the weak point, she would probably be killed by the sword Qi within half a breath. It's already very good to be able to reach this stage. Quickly surrender. The faces of the geniuses changed slightly. If this continued, Shan Lingshuang would be crushed by the sword Qi. This girl is very smart. She won't fight force with force. As soon as Lin Shun finished speaking, Shan Lingshuang retreated. Her battle aura condensed into a battle aura phantom and used two battle techniques to block the coiling dragon sword Qi for her. Another half-orange grade technique? She's still holding back? Oh my god! After the previous confrontation, the power of the sword energy had already been reduced by more than half. Shan Lingshuang stepped on a rainbow and flashed. Her entire body revolved with the light screen of fire tribulation, and she instantly rushed to Dongfang Yao's side. What? Dongfang Yao's expression was horrified. His eyes trembled with fear, and he wanted to use his movement technique to retreat. Shan Lingshuang was faster than him and punched him in the chest, breaking his ribs. Pa. Orient Yao was sent flying, and he spat out a large amount of blood. Shan Lingshuang didn't spare Orient Yao. She needed straight punch, uppercut, elbow, and a series of close-range attacks. In the end, Orient Yao was sent flying and landed on the ground after receiving dozens of attacks. He was barely breathing and looked completely different from his previous arrogant and proud self. Shan Lingshuang was also bathed in blood. She had just finished the long Qingguo in her mouth. This was also a close victory. The winner is Shan Lingshuang, Seiji Fuzumi announced loudly. A stream of holy qi nourished their bodies and gradually healed their injuries. The genius's expressions were very interesting. She had turned the situation around. Furthermore, it was an unprecedented turnaround in the battle against someone of a higher level. This was probably the first Fourth Tribulation Combat Emperor to rank 10099 in the sacred boundary. I've lost. I can't believe I've lost to a little girl. I comprehended the green level sword art at the age of 7, mastered the blue level sword art at the age of 10, and was ranked first in the sword Dao of the 100 Saints Gate. I can't believe I've lost here. Orient Yao's face was full of resentment. His face was ferocious, and his expression was full of incomprehensible madness. As a genius, he couldn't accept this result. As his injuries gradually healed, he regained his strength and immediately began to circulate his heart sutra. At this moment, the spatial enchantment was lifted. Shunling Shuang turned and left. She waved at Lin Shun, and her gem-like eyes flickered with childlike innocence. She said proudly, Master, I said I would let you enter Rainbow Island. Lin Shun smiled and said, Okay. I know you're the best. The 11 geniuses from the 100 Saints Gate looked embarrassed, especially the beautiful girl who looked down on Lin Shun. She was so angry that she was trembling. Lin Shun whistled frivolously in their direction. Aha, some people brag to the heavens, but in the end, they can't even beat someone else's disciple. They even look down on others. I don't know how to pretend to be in Geoduck all day long. After that, a certain Lin held a big sword and imitated the expression of Dongfang Yao's bold words when he first entered the arena. First comes the east, then comes the sky. I'll let you commoners see the sword Dao of the Dongfang family. Many geniuses covered their mouths and laughed crazily. The faces of the 100 Saints Gate's geniuses turned green and purple. It was very interesting. Ning Qingxian giggled. When it came to angering people, there was probably no one in the world better than him. Then, Shunling Shuang was about to leave the stage. Suddenly, because the spatial enchantment was lifted, Lin Shen's 9 tribulations, I instinctively sensed a crazy, murderous aura. It came from Orient Yao. Clang! Slash! The air was torn apart, and the sacred glazed sword that had fallen to the ground stabbed toward Shunling Shuang's back. This sword was too sudden. None of the geniuses could react. Shunling Shuang was still smiling at Lin Shun. Before they could react, the murderous aura had already exploded. No one would have thought that after the competition, Dongfang Yao would take advantage of the post-battle recovery of the sage to wait for an opportunity to sneak attack Shunling Shuang. The sword was aimed at Shunling Shuang's heart. The only ones who could react were the sages and the 2 referees. But by the time the sword was out, it was already too late to seal the space or reach Shunling Shuang's side. Oh no, the 2 referees were shocked. Something bad was going to happen. Chapter 1003. Boom! In an instant, a grayish-white talisman descended from the sky and exploded from the space behind Shunling Shuang. It froze the void and froze the space. The color glass sacred sword's speed slowed by 90%. However, the tip of the sword was only 5 feet away from Shunling Shuang. Whoosh! Bang! A purplish-red flame and a blazing dragon shadow flashed by, and the color glass sacred sword was sent flying. Everyone was shocked. A silver-robed man appeared in the Qilin Cloud platform. A pair of purplish-red phoenix wings flapped behind his back, and he hugged Shunling Shuang with one hand as blood spurted out of his left shoulder. Whoosh! Boom! With a red spear in hand, the silver-robed man's power skyrocketed. When that young and fair face looked at Orient Yao, a violent and shocking murderous aura surged. F***CKU Orient Yao. Do you want to die? Lin Shen shielded Shunling Shuang behind him and rushed toward Orient Yao with his dragon shadow. He held the red spear in his hand and smashed the top of Orient Yao's head. Wait a minute, Lin Shun. Seiji Fuzumi and Saint One Eyebrow immediately blocked Lin Shun and Orient Yao. Young friend, it's true that he violated the rules, but it's not up to you to punish him. Seiji Fuzumi immediately advised, but there was still a lingering shock in his heart. Even saints like them couldn't catch up to that sword just now. This kid's speed and methods were simply outrageous. He used some unknown method to stop the colored glass sacred sword, and then rushed to Shunling Shuang's side in an instant. Orient Yao, you violated the rules and launched a sneak attack after the competition. Your current quota for Rainbow Island is revoked. Saint One Eyebrow solemnly announced the result, and the audience was in an uproar. The elimination of the quota meant that Orient Yao's 4 consecutive victories in the preliminaries was no longer valid, unless someone else entered the top 10 and gave the extra quota to Orient Yao. Orient Yao was gloomy and uncertain, but Lin Chun was filled with killing intent. Hanging by a thread, it was really hanging by a thread. If Lin Chen's reaction had been slower by even a tenth of a breath, Shunling Shuang would have died on the Qilin Cloud platform. This bastard was obviously a sore loser. After losing, he wanted to take revenge. In Shunling Shuang's last wave of surprise attacks that decided the outcome of the battle, even after dozens of punches only seriously injured him, but did not kill him. After this person lost, he wanted to kill Shunling Shuang. Facing Seiji Fuzumi, Lin Chen suddenly smiled. How can this be fair? He sneak attacked my disciple, so he should also receive a sneak attack from me. His laughter was extremely cold, like an emotionless demon from hell. There is no such rule in the Heavenly List Assembly. We have already given him the corresponding punishment. For this accident, I sincerely apologize to you on behalf of the Heavenly List Assembly. Seiji Fuzumi rarely admitted defeat, so Lin Chen did not continue to pursue the matter for the time being. The current him did not have the strength to break the authority. Lin Chen put away his red spear, his expression indifferent. Orient Yao, right? Your life, I want it. Humph. Shameless boasting. You're just a little faster. What can you use to fight with this young master? You can only hide behind a woman and bark. Orient Yao sneered. He recognized Shun Lingshuang's strength, but it did not mean that he, Lin Shun, could also fight with him. Lin Shun was too lazy to pay attention to this mad dog. He stared at Shun Lingshuang from head to toe. Are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? Shun Lingshuang shook her head. She glanced at the wound on Lin Chen's shoulder and lowered her head. Her slender fingers twisted together, as if she had done something wrong. She said, I'm sorry, master. Ling Shuang made a mistake. If I didn't hold back at that time, Lin Chen pinched her delicate face and said with a smile, you didn't do anything wrong. No one can predict the outcome of every choice. You didn't kill him because of your own judgment. No one knew that he would sneak attack you after the competition. What if he didn't sneak attack you? Moreover, killing people is not a good thing. Master would rather you not kill people for the rest of your life and live a good life. Ling Shuang hugged Lin Chen and shook her head like a rattle drum. No, Ling Shuang promises there won't be a next time. I don't want Master to be hurt. The second round of the top 10 competition ended amidst the boos of the audience. It was worth mentioning that Lin Chen had gotten close to the Qilin Cloud stage to save Shunling Shuang. He was able to release the Dragon Emperor and collect all the attribute light balls in one fell swoop. His strength soared again. Most of the attribute light balls in the Qilin Cloud stage were strengthening points. After collecting all the attribute light balls, Lin Chen obtained 91 million strengthening points in one go. Secondly, a small number of geniuses were wary of Lin Chen. His explosive speed was extremely terrifying and troublesome. It was not the speed that a 3-calamity combat emperor should have. The people of the 100 Saints Gate had become the target of everyone's disdain. Although they didn't say anything on the surface, they secretly looked at them with disdain. Especially Dongfang Yao. Everyone had already witnessed the lowliness of this person's character. He had truly lost all standing and reputation. There were still 8 more rounds of the top 10 competition. The genius ranking had changed many times. Divine Flame Palace in a boudoir. Dressed in a red robe, a beauty crossed her snow-white legs. When she looked at the ranking, her eyes lit up. What happened to Ling Shuang? She actually reached the 10099 rank. Her strength shouldn't have reached this level. Could it be? The beauty frowned. Lin Chen's news appeared in the southern region. The Sky Ranking Tournament was also held in the Qilin Cloud Island in the southern region. Could it be because of Lin Chen? Silence. Inside the Qilin Cloud platform, there was a strange silence. When Lu Kuanying, who was ranked 10288 on the genius ranking, was seriously injured and shouted to surrender, a rising star shocked everyone. The geniuses of the 5th grade sects, such as the Hongtian Hall, the 100 Saints Gate, and the Sun Moon Hall, all revealed a look of fear. The linen-clothed youth held a 3-foot-long sword and sheathed it. He stepped into the air and left, like a cultivator who was experiencing the world. At this moment, a new name appeared on the Holy Light ranking. Genius ranking 10288, Ling Jian. This person was the only one who had fought his way from the top 30,000 ranks to the top 10. This is the biggest dark horse. The genius of the Hongtian Hall revealed a violent fighting spirit and grinned. The white-clothed young master of the Sun Moon Hall frowned. Among the geniuses present, the number of people who can defeat Lu Yingquan in one move can be counted with one hand. Lin Chen's expression was solemn. He and Ning Qingxian looked at each other, and they both saw the thorny problem in each other's eyes. If there was no accident, this Ling Jian was one of the strongest geniuses present. Now, the top 10 have been decided. Please choose the person you want to use the quota, and then hand it to me. Seiji Fuzumi announced. The geniuses who obtained the top 10 positions raised their hands and shot out a stream of light. Shun Lingshuang naturally chose Lin Chun. Seiji Fuzumi stretched out his hand and grabbed the name in the stream of light. After reading it, his expression changed slightly. He frowned and looked at the white-clothed young master of the Sun Moon Hall. The latter smiled. Senior, did this junior violate the rules? Indeed, he did not violate the rules. When Seiji Fuzumi announced the list, the result shocked everyone. Sun Moon Hall had obtained 2 extra quotas, and one of them was actually used on Orient Yao. This operation shocked many of the geniuses. Could it be that the insufferably arrogant Sun Moon Hall would take the initiative to befriend other forces? Chapter 1004. When Orient Yao lost to Shun Lingshuang in the top 20, he only lost the right to compete for an extra slot. His own slot didn't disappear, but he violated the rules, so his original slot was revoked by the Seiji Fuzumi. All the members of the 100 Saints Gate originally obtained a slot to enter Rainbow Island, but only Orient Yao was left behind. Originally, everyone thought that Orient Yao wouldn't be able to enter Rainbow Island, but unexpectedly, Sun Moon Hall helped him. Orient Yao looked at the white-clothed young master of Sun Moon Hall in confusion, and the other party smiled gracefully. Don't be surprised, young Master Dongfang. Don't you and Sun Moon Hall have the same goal? Once you enter Rainbow Island, let's happily join hands. What do you think? The geniuses of the 100 Saints Gate followed Orient Yao blindly. If he couldn't enter Rainbow Island, their morale would be greatly reduced. However, if they helped Orient Yao, they could rope in the entire 100 Saints Gate. Orient Yao nodded and said telepathically, "Okay, let's join hands and deal with that kid." Sun Moon Hall's goal was very simple. It was Lin Chen's Long Qing Shu. Shun Lingshuang had consumed a large amount of Long Qinghua in the battle. If she didn't have the Long Qing Shu, she wouldn't have been able to withstand such consumption. From the discussions of the geniuses in the field, they vaguely noticed that this person seemed to have the Long Qing Shu. Long Qing Shu was something that could only be encountered by chance. Even 5th-ranked sects rarely had it. However, Lin Chen's methods had already attracted the attention of Sun Moon Hall. In order to ensure the competition for the Long Qing Shu, Sun Moon Hall didn't intend to give Lin Chen any opportunity to take advantage of. If the two sects joined hands, he would definitely die. The crowd of geniuses looked in Lin Chen's direction with pity and sorrow, but more than that, there was fear and solemnity. If the 100 Saints Gate and Sun Moon Hall joined hands, there was almost no one present who could contend against them. Ning Qingxian stared at Lin Chen. They have their eyes on us. Lin Chen nodded and smiled casually. I know, but I can't ask for it. If that Orient Yao hides outside, it will be difficult for me to deal with him. Suddenly, a dark shadow appeared on Lin Chen's waist. It was Little Shadow. What's the matter, little guy? Lin Chen was curious. Wasn't this little fellow cultivating peacefully in the peach blossom plant pouch? Why did it suddenly run out? Little Shadow did not reply to Lin Shun, but instead stared deeply at Ling Jian before retreating back into the peach blossom pouch. It was extremely strange. Little Shadow is reacting to Ling Jian. There's something wrong with this guy. Looks like I have to be careful. Lin Shun glanced at Ling Jian warily. In the following time, everyone made their own preparations and waited for the opening of Rainbow Island. Rainbow Island didn't belong to any faction, and no one could open it in advance. It would only open once every 1,000 years. 2 days later, a ray of rainbow light broke the silence and shone down from the heavens. The colorful rainbow light formed a 100 feet long cocoon of light that split open like a vertical eye. Inside the cocoon of light was a beautiful island suspended in the void. Boom! Saint One Eyebrow and Seiji Fuzumi grabbed at the cocoon of light, and the colorful light threads entered their palms. There were exactly 4,000 strands of light. They floated in the air and condensed into a ball of light in the hands of the two saints. Now the 4,000 spots have been decided. Everyone, please step forward. Saint One Eyebrow shouted, and thousands of geniuses stepped forward. To Lin Shen's surprise, Poisoned Saint Yu's granddaughter, Sun Yu, also participated in the competition. The top 10 female genius, Jiang Yun, actually gave an extra spot to Sun Yu and invited her to join the team. Even Lin Chen didn't understand. Sun Yu was only a third Tribulation Combat Emperor, the same level as him. According to common sense, she really didn't have the qualifications to participate in this kind of competition. Everyone, this is the vitality of Rainbow Island. Only by refining this wisp of vitality can you avoid being obliterated by the rules of Rainbow Island. Saint One Eyebrow and Seiji Fuzumi opened their palms, and two colorful lights shot out into the glabella of the 4,000 geniuses. Everyone only felt a warm current flowing through their glabella, and there wasn't any substantial change. When Lin Shun refined the vitality of Rainbow Island, even his doppelgangers were contaminated by this wisp of chi. On Rainbow Island, all the opportunities belong to you. Rainbow bridges will rise on the island at a specific time, and every rainbow will throw out many treasures. Every time a rainbow appears, a large number of treasures will be born. After entering, your life and death will be up to fate. There are sacred beasts residing inside, and endless dangers are hidden within. When the last rainbow ends, all of you will be teleported out. Of course, if it's a corpse, it will also be teleported out. The advice of the two saints made many geniuses tremble. Sacred beasts. That was an existence that could rival the saint realm. There was such a ferocious beast on Rainbow Island. Well, the rest is up to you. Go. The two saints flicked their sleeves, and the geniuses looked at each other before turning into a stream of light and entering the light cocoon. Junior sister, the white-clothed young master of Sun Moon Hall, instructed the woman beside him. The beautiful woman made a hand seal and wiped her eyes. Her pupils turned into a blazing sun and a bright moon, locking onto Lin Shun. Lin Shun suddenly felt a chill from being stared at. He turned his head and stared at the people of Sun Moon Hall. Senior brother, we've already tracked him. He can't escape. The woman in the long dress bowed. The white-clothed young master smiled coldly and said, "Okay, let's go." After saying that, the geniuses of Sun Moon Hall and the 100 Saints Gate also began to enter the light cocoon. The 100 Saints Gate had 12 people, and the Sun Moon Hall had 30 people. A total of 42 people could be said to be one of the strongest teams present. Before leaving, Orient Yao gave Lin Shun a vicious and crazy grin, as if he had a trump card to deal with Lin Shun and the others. "You got your eyes on me? It's fine." Lin Shun's heart was filled with pride and battle intent. He had long wanted to fight with these top geniuses. So what if they were geniuses? Lin Shun, was going to fight geniuses. In the dark, countless pairs of eyes were fixed on him. Lin Shun felt that it wasn't just the 100 Saints Gate and Sun Moon Hall who had their eyes on him this time. Some of the top geniuses had heard that Lin Shun had more than one spirit plan of providence. If they killed him, wouldn't they be snatching the resources of a fourth-rank sect for nothing? Undercurrents surged, and the wind and clouds surged. Lin Shun had become the target of public criticism. Hee, Prince Lin Shun, right? Maybe we'll have a chance to work together. At this moment, a valiant and awe-inspiring figure led 15 women with different styles to Lin Shun. Sun Yuer was among them. She bowed slightly to Lin Shun. Oh, Jiang Yun and the other ladies from the heart-refining palace? I've offended so many people. Aren't you afraid of getting into trouble? Lin Shun raised his eyebrows and smiled mockingly. My palace master specially instructed us to be on good terms with you and to lend you a helping hand when necessary. After all, your junior sister Manqing's sweetheart and someone who alarmed our palace master when he became an emperor in the mortal world. Jiang Yin smiled. Lin Shun was stunned. Yin Manqing? So was her. However, Jiang Yin wasn't a stupid person. She could have made her position clear earlier and cooperated with Lin Shun, but she only came out now. Obviously, she was observing Lin Chen's strength and background. Then I wish us a happy cooperation in advance. Lin Chen smiled. I'll go first. Jiang Yin nodded and led her junior sister into the light cocoon. The young and graceful female geniuses all looked curiously at Lin Shun before they left. Lin Chen turned and smiled at Shunling Shuang and Ning Qingxian. Let's go. 4,000 geniuses all entered Rainbow Island in less than 15 minutes. Cicada Saint and Miss Saint, who were chasing Lin Shun, frowned. What should we do? Lian Wanjin smiled nastily. Wait, Rainbow Island won't be open for long. When he comes out, he won't have a chance. I'm worried that he'll die inside. 4,000 geniuses had just left, and the Saints of the Thousand Gold Association had arrived. Seeing that the number of saints chasing Lin Shun was increasing, the 200 or so saints were even more curious. How is this kid going to get out of this predicament? Chapter 1005. Most of the geniuses who didn't get a spot had already started to leave Kirin Island. However, the geniuses who came to watch the battle still stayed on the island. They were looking forward to whose clan's geniuses would be the biggest winner. After all, Rainbow Island was a place where one had the chance to encounter orange-grade techniques. Those who had seen orange-grade techniques could be counted on one's fingers. When Lin Shun and the others entered the spatial light cocoon, they stepped on colorful rainbow lights and shot into Rainbow Island. The Rainbow Island floated in the endless void. Its entire body was covered in a layer of special spatial light. Lin Shun could feel an unprecedented power of space. He had seen the space created by the Nine States Continent's War Emperor and the small plane created by the Saint Stage. However, they couldn't compare to this special spatial light film. It was like the difference between a firefly and the moon. The owner of this Rainbow Island must be a powerful person. Just as Lin Shun was amazed, he, Shunling Shuang, and Ning Qingxian arrived on the island. The other geniuses landed in different locations on the island, but they all landed in different locations. The spatial crystal wall here was several times stronger than the sacred boundary. Even a saint might not be able to tear the space apart. The mountain peaks stood tall, and the mountain ranges rose and fell. The surroundings were full of vitality and spiritual energy. There were even signs of spiritual energy condensing into raindrops. What a strong spiritual energy. Something's not right. Lin Shin suddenly became alert. He grabbed Ning Qingxian and Shunling Shuang and flashed. Rip! Dozens of poisonous arrows condensed from venom shot out and pierced through several mountain peaks. The mountain collapsed and white smoke rose. Everything was corroded into a paste. GG, there are humans again. The humans this time look much more delicious than last time. It's just that there are fewer of them. Get out of the way, I came first. F*CK, your mother. A large number of sharp and clear voices echoed in the sky. Thousands of silk threads trembled. There were countless silk threads in the void. Lin Chen's pupils trembled. The entire sky was filled with spider webs that blotted out the sky. These spider webs were highly corrosive and sticky. Even if Lin Chen touched them, he might not be able to break free quickly. Numerous purple-black spiders that were over 100 feet long were crawling on the spider web. Their upper bodies were naked, while their lower bodies were spider shells. They had poison sacs and spikes on their heads as they moved. A peak 7th rank serious black spider? Lin Chun was astonished. Ning Qingxian frowned. That's not right. Although their lifespan is very long, this race doesn't have the bloodline to reach that level. It's a mutation, a bloodline mutation. The Rainbow Islands' spirit energy and spirituality are extremely high. In addition, they devoured the flesh and blood of the top geniuses who entered the Rainbow Island, causing their bloodline to mutate. Shunling Shuang activated her bloodline power, and her beautiful eyes glowed with divine light as she saw through the bloodline of all the serious black spiders. Interesting. Qing Xian, be careful. Ling Shuang, use fire to attack them. I can't do it with these bastards. They're not afraid of fire. Lin Chen grinned, and his fighting spirit surged. He pulled out the green destiny sword, and flames circulated around the sword. Lin Chen's battle chi rose steadily as he activated the sevenfold transformations and the ultimate moment. Lin Chen had been eating and refining the red gold vine and the long Qingguo all this time. His pure strength had reached 5 million, and with the support of the ultimate moment, it had temporarily broken through to 80 million. His pure strength was comparable to a battle emperor who had just entered the 5th tribulation. Lin Chun slashed out with the sword Fury, sky-raising sword, and thousands of flames surged on the sword. With a loud bang, an orange sword rainbow was slashed out, and the spiderweb in the sky was set ablaze. Gee, this human is good at fire-type attacks. Devour him first. We can't let him destroy our web. The 16 serious black spiders moved at high speed on the huge spider web. They were like bolts of lightning, and their speed was dazzling to the eye. Shunling Shuang repeatedly used the war demon-burning sky fists with her fists, and a spiraling storm of flaming fists pierced through the spider web. That little girl as well. Damn it! The serious black spiders screamed one after another. Their spider web, which had been woven for countless years, was their advantage in capturing enemies. If they were burned to ashes, their combat power would be greatly reduced. Codex of Speed. Ning Qingxian waved her slender hand, and 2 streaks of battle chi shot into the bodies of the master and disciple duo. The speed of their battle chi circulation increased by 40%. Lin Chun activated his Fire Calamity Battle Chi and brandished the 7-star sword style. Starlight and flaming glass sword chi rained down like a meteor shower. Passive innate skills activated. Laceration, fatal bloodthirst. Host has activated innate skill combination. Ability to use innate skill combination. The sword light tore apart a serious black spider and directly cut off its leg, causing blood to spurt out like a fountain. This is... Lin Chen was pleasantly surprised. His swordsmanship was half as swift and fierce as before. So Qing Xian's true strength is in support combat, not in frontal combat. So that's how it is. The ecstatic Lin Chen sent out a thought. System, I want to use innate skill combination. Sovereign's Descent. Using innate skill combination. Sovereign's Descent. Beginning to accumulate energy, 0 points. Following that, the spiritual storm between Lin Chen's eyebrows rapidly brewed, and he suddenly unleashed annihilation. A sky-blue pillar of spiritual light swept out, causing all the serious black spiders to lose consciousness and foam to their mouths. The 3 of them rushed forward and instantly exterminated all the serious black spiders. Sovereign's Descent accumulated energy, 190,000 points, 100,000 points, 80,000 points. Following that, he released the Dragon Emperor and swallowed all the Dire Beast cores. Received 1,002 high-grade Battle Chi Essence, 400 high-grade HP, 1 mid-grade talent point, 1 high-grade wood energy point. Lin Shun took the attribute light balls dropped by the serious black spiders. In frontal combat, these serious black spiders are only at the peak of the 4th tribulation realm. Under the premise that the spider web is set up, it will restrict one's movements and make it impossible to use any movement techniques. They won't even be able to escape. If it weren't for the fact that their attributes counter each other, even the top 5th tribulation realm geniuses would be at risk of dying. Lin Shun frowned. He had just entered Rainbow Island, and he had already encountered such a powerful existence. This island was more dangerous than he had imagined. This time, he was lucky that his battle chi attribute countered the enemy, but it might not be the same next time. Clap, clap, clap. At this moment, a round of applause sounded. Wonderful, Lin Shun. You are indeed quite capable. With your 3rd tribulation combat emperor cultivation, your strength is enough to occupy the top 40,000 rankings. I have to say that you are really a freak. Given enough time, you might be able to grow to our level. At this moment, silhouettes appeared from the 4 mountain peaks 30 miles away and surrounded the 3 of them. The leader was a red-robed youth. His eyebrows were arrogant and frivolous, and his face was cold. When he stared at Lin Shun, he revealed a smile like a cat playing with a mouse. People from Hongtian Hall. Ning Qingxian frowned. These people were battle maniacs. Although I am handsome, I don't need a group of men like you to follow me. Lin Shun raised his eyebrows and laughed mockingly. He was calm and composed. The red-robed youth sneered and stretched out his finger. You have 2 choices now. 1, hand over your Providence plant pouch and leave the 2 beauties behind. Then you can get lost. 2, we will cripple you and snatch the Providence plant pouch. How about it? I am very benevolent, right? At least you still have a choice. If it were someone else, they would have killed you directly. I was almost touched by my own kindness. The red-robed youth sighed from the bottom of his heart. Lin Shun laughed out loud. Why the F***ck did they want to rob him? Yes, your excellency is really F***king kind. Lin Shun sighed and then laughed evilly. Unfortunately, I, Lin Shun, am 10,000 times kinder than you. Chapter 1006. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 5 clones, Zhendang, Zhendekang, Zhendok Shui, Shintoka Shou, and Zhendijiu, were released from the peach blossom pouch in an instant. The geniuses of Hongtian Hall were shocked. There are other people? The 15 geniuses of Hongtian Hall were slightly surprised, but they were only surprised by Lin Shun's ability to bring others into Rainbow Island. They were not shaken by this. In their opinion, Lin Shun and the others were at most on par with the geniuses ranked around 30,000. Even if there were a few more, they would not be much stronger. What they really needed to be on guard against was Shun Ling Shuang, who had defeated Orient Yao. I know you're good at body movement. Let me fight you. The leading red-robed youth stepped into the air, his body movement extremely fast. The phoenix wings on Lin Shun's back flapped, and he used Dragon Flash to fly forward. The red dragon claw slashed through the air and smashed down violently. Lin Shun dodged the dragon claw and quickly sent a message to the 2 girls. Qing Xian, use that technique on all my clones. Ling Shuang, protect Qing Xian. Don't fight with them. Leave them to me. Ning Qing Xian flicked her slender fingers, and all of Lin Shun's clones circulated their battle chis 40% faster. Bang, bang, bang. The mountain peak exploded, and shadows swept through the air. The geniuses of Hongtian Hall attacked the 2 girls. Their focus was Shun Ling Shuang. Among the 15 geniuses, 2 of them were ranked around 20,000, and the rest were all ranked around 10,000. Lin Shun formed hand seals, and dragon-like battle chis swam in his meridians and battle chis fate wheel. An even more terrifying battle chis surged out from Lin Shun's body. Azura 9 Brilliance Change, 8th Transformation. Bang! A battle chi explosion erupted from Lin Shun's body. Although his cultivation level was still at the third tribulation, his battle chi instantly soared to the level of a fourth tribulation cultivator. This was the first time Lin Shun had used the 8 tribulations transformation. The violent and vast battle chi of 9 tribulations filled every inch of his flesh and blood, and it was intoxicating as if he had ascended to the heavens. Oh, one exquisite secret technique, but he still had to die. Blood Dragon Claw. The red-robed youth grinned hideously as he raised his hand. His 5 fingers erupted with a blood-colored battle aura that could suppress a myriad of beasts, and a violent slaughter dragon claw swept through the sky like 4 streaks of light that flashed with extreme speed. This claw was his full-powered attack. It was a half-orange grade combat skill. The only people who could block it head-on were the geniuses who were also ranked within 10,200 like him. Royal God Spear. Lin Shun held the Crimson Spear in his hand and activated the charge and penetration runes. The tip of the spear flashed with a golden aura as it pierced through the sky and collided head-on with the Blood Fiend Dragon Claw. Bang! The terrifying blood aura and battle chi of Golden Calamity exploded into countless fragments of light. The red-robed youth's face was filled with astonishment. He actually blocked my Blood Fiend Dragon Claw. On the other side, Shunling Shuang clearly knew the direction of each genius surprise attack. She used her movement skill to cover Ning Qingshuan's retreat. The doppelganger drew the bow and shot out a lightning arrow. Along the trajectory of the arrow, faint lightning flashed like feathers. The auspicious light was like a dream, so beautiful that it was suffocating. The 2 geniuses from Hongtian Hall felt their hair stand on end. The moment you saw the arrow light, it was already in front of you. This power is not something a 4th Tribulation Battle Emperor can unleash. Could this be an orange-grade archery technique? Blood Great True Light Shield. Among the 3 geniuses from Hongtian Hall, one of them defended while the other 2 pointed their fingers. Their fingers flashed and crushed the terrifying arrow. Lin Chen's other 4 doppelganger fought with the geniuses from Hongtian Hall, respectively. The Mighty Sky Sword and Azure Moon were fully displayed. However, due to the number of geniuses, they were at a disadvantage. It was 3 against 1, and there were only 2 geniuses who could really encircle the 2 girls. However, the ones who felt their scalps go numb were the ones from Hongtian Hall. Every one of Lin Chen's people was terrifyingly strong. Every move they used was far more powerful than a half-orange grade technique. If it wasn't for the number of geniuses, both sides would have a 50% chance of winning in a one-on-one duel. What was even more frightening was that his sister's people were the same as Lin Shun. All of them were only 3rd Tribulation Battle Emperors, with the top geniuses on the genius ranking as their opponents. How could they fight 2 realms higher? What kind of monsters were they? Bang, bang, clang. The 2 rainbows in the sky crisscrossed and collided again and again. Every time, the rainbows that were shining with golden brilliance were repelled. After dozens of rounds of fierce battle, both sides separated. Lin Chen's whole body was flowing with the Imperial Heaven Metal Chi. Even so, he still suffered some injuries. If he hadn't swallowed a large amount of red gold vines, Lin Shun would have been killed by the shockwaves of his attacks. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and grinned. The genius ranked 10,188 does have some skills. If I hadn't stolen more than 200 Saint Realm Warriors attributes and the attributes dropped by all the geniuses in the Heaven Ranking Tournament, my combat power would at most be equal to 20,000 geniuses in terms of combat power. Even if Lin Shun used the 8 transformations and ultimate moment, he could only barely fight with his opponent. If the battle dragged on, he would definitely lose. Of course, the premise was that Lin Shun didn't use any other trump cards. I didn't expect you to have such a trump card. I underestimated you, Lin Shun. The red-robed young man was uncertain. In this way, even if he could take down Lin Chen's group, he would have to pay a heavier price than expected. Forget it. I'll use all my strength to kill you. Your doppelgangers will probably disappear immediately. I'll enjoy the beauties beside you for you. The red-robed young man smiled sinisterly. Countless bloody dragon shadows appeared in an instant. His body grew taller and taller. 3 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet. He was like an ancient blood dragon standing in front of Lin Shun. Trump card? Huh, I haven't used my trump card yet. Ultimate Restoration. Lin Shun and his doppelgangers were surging with brilliant lights. Their injuries and battle auras were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. The red-robed young man's pupils trembled. What? What kind of technique is this? This is the specialty of my Black Horse Club. It's hard and durable. Lin Shin smiled sinisterly and ordered in his mind, System, activate the Sovereign's Descent talent. Sovereign's Descent talent activated. Accumulated energy, 39 million points. It will increase the next attack of the host or his doppelgangers. Consume 21 intermediate talent points. The host and all his doppelgangers activated the instant light split shadow talent. Consumed 16 advanced rune energy points. The host and all his doppelgangers used penetration and recharge runes. Hantian Hall, right? Die for me. Lin Chin's eyes shone with a ruthless light, as though he had nothing to lose and was not afraid of wearing shoes. He held the spear with both hands. The red spear, which was an 8th-grade weapon embryo, pulled out a golden rainbow and pierced in the direction of the red-robed young man. At this moment, all of Lin Chin's doppelgangers used their ultimate skills. Annihilation, Mirror Moon Order God, Sword Fury, Feather of Lucky Light, and Shadow, Flying Dagger. Quadruple kill were all used in one breath. Your cultivation is too low. Break for me. The red-robed young man's pupils trembled as if he had seen a ghost. When the golden rainbow burst out from the tip of the spear like a hidden dragon, its power increased by 9 times. Under the recharge and penetration runes, its power increased by 9 times. That power was enough to threaten the red-robed young man. However, he could still withstand it. He didn't expect that Lin Shun could release such a terrifying power. But it wasn't over yet. The golden rainbow trembled in the air. After its power increased by 9 times, it split into 5. Sovereign's Descent plus Instant Light split shadow. The red-robed young man's mouth trembled. F***, what kind of move is this? Chapter 1007. On Kirin Island, the Saints were sitting in the void, drinking wine and discussing heroes. They had each led their own juniors here and were now waiting for the juniors of their own sex to return with some gains. This old man is really envious of you guys. Among our disciples this time, there are only 2 who have managed to obtain the 4,000 spots. A green-robed saint shook his head and laughed at himself. Decline, decline. The sage-like elder stroked his beard and smiled. There are always ups and downs in the prosperity and decline of the world. Brother Mo, don't worry. Everything is determined by fate. Haven't we old fellows witnessed it countless times? The red-browed middle-aged man next to him laughed boorishly. Yes, maybe the 2 geniuses in your hall this time are so lucky that they might bring back an orange tier technique. There was a hint of mockery in his laughter. The green-robed saint frowned. I only hope that those 2 brats come back alive. Unlike your Hantian Hall, who has a big business and nurtured 15 top geniuses, these 15 brats are quite talented. Maybe they will have a good harvest this time and let those ordinary geniuses see the power of my Hantian Hall. The red-browed saint spoke and laughed, revealing his arrogance and disdain, which made the other saints frown. Whoosh! At this time, the holy light brushed past, and the genius ranking changed again. Oh, there's a change in the genius ranking so soon? Let me take a look. Which force's genius is the unlucky one at the beginning? The red-browed saint was interested, and all the saints looked at him curiously. On the holy light list, 3 names were scrolling and gradually dimming. Genius ranking 19118. One Finger Rainbow, Miaoran Fei dead. Sect, Hantian Hall. Genius ranking 20741. Star-slicing sword. Shi Chun has died. Sect. Hantian Hall. Genius ranking 19115. Thousand Moon Reversal by Yun Hai dead. Sect. Hantian Hall. Countless geniuses took a deep breath. On the first day of entering Rainbow Island, the fallen genius was actually from Hantian Hall. The expressions of the Saint Realm experts were equally interesting. Some were gloating, some were bewildered, and some were curious. The red-browed saint was stunned for a long time and didn't even come back to his senses. Motherf asterisk her, which bastard is it? Boom! Once the saint was enraged, the wind and clouds suddenly changed. A blood-colored vortex exploded above the red-browed saint's head. Chi Hong, don't make a scene here. If you don't want to watch, then scram. According to the rules of Rainbow Island, internal grievances have nothing to do with you old fellows from the outside world. If you dare to break the rules, you will be standing on the opposite side of us. Seiji Fuzumi and the one-eyebrow saint said indifferently, intimidating the red-browed saint. No, look, there are also the names of the other geniuses from the Hantian Hall. Some geniuses exclaimed. At this moment, on the Holy Light list, the names of the other geniuses of the Hantian Hall dimmed. They were like candles in the wind, about to be extinguished at any moment. It was obvious that they had suffered an unprecedented blow. They had just entered Rainbow Island, and they had already suffered such a blow. This meant that even if any treasures were to appear, it would not be their turn to fight for them. Even if the 15 geniuses of the Hantian Hall encountered all the geniuses of the 100 Saints Gate, they could still escape unscathed. The only thing that could threaten them might be the dangers inside Sun Moon Hall and Rainbow Island. Could it be that they encountered a sacred beast or some dangerous place? No, look, there are new names replacing them. It was done by other geniuses. The geniuses immediately exclaimed. 3 new names replaced the original rankings. Genius List 19118. Monarch of the Moonjin DGU. Sect. Black Horse Club. Genius List 20741. Peerless Pill Sage, Zhendang. Sect. Black Horse Club. Genius List 19115. Shintoka Show. Title None. Sect. Black Horse Club. Silence, a strange silence. When they saw the 3 names, everyone was shocked. Black Horse Club? Lin Shun? That's not right. Lin Shun was the only one who entered Rainbow Island. How did he bring his people in? The law of Rainbow Island would obliterate those who were not contaminated by the rainbow energy. It's actually done by the Black Horse Club? Oh my god, the Hantian Hall is a 5th grade sect. The other 12 geniuses of the Hantian Hall were also seriously injured by them. What's going on? I remember that they were only 2nd or 3rd Tribulation Battle Emperors, right? The geniuses exclaimed in shock and were dumbfounded. There were too many unimaginable things. The saints were lost in thought. Saint One Eyebrow and Seiji Fuzumi had solemn expressions. This matter may have exceeded our expectations. This Lin Chen's methods are really shocking. However, the rules didn't say that he couldn't bring other people in, because geniuses who tried to bring other living beings in would basically be obliterated in the first moment on Rainbow Island. Saint Chihong, who came from the Hantian Hall, stared at the names, his eyes almost popping out of their sockets. Lin Shun, Rainbow Island, Sirius Mountain Range. Barren fangs and brandishing claws spread across the land. The barren forest was destroyed, and the mountains were shattered. It was as if an apocalyptic disaster had befallen this place. Ultimate Restoration. Lin Shun activated Ultimate Restoration and replenished the massive amount of battle chi required to activate the 8 transformation. The Dragon Emperor revealed his true form and transformed into a boundless dragon to harvest all the attribute light balls. Received 3 intermediate talent points, 2 advanced fire elemental energy. For advanced lightning elemental energy, 2300 advanced battle chi essence, 1000 advanced blood points, 6 intermediate heavens path points, 1000 strengthening points. Lin Shen's battle chi fate will begin to grow to a critical value. During this period of time, whenever he was free, he would absorb a massive amount of silver Saint Origin coins. The growth of his battle chi essence had never stopped. You actually severely injured all of them. Ning Qingxian flew over and exclaimed. She expected that Lin Shun would have a way to get out of this predicament, but she didn't expect him to be so ferocious. Even a red-robed young man was severely injured by him and had to flee in panic. Hee, it's true that some of it was due to luck. These guys ran pretty fast. Otherwise, I would have killed them all. Lin Shun snatched the 3 storage rings and poured all the pills and techniques into the peach blossom plant pouch. There weren't many treasures in the storage rings. First of all, top geniuses needed a lot of resources to cultivate, so they wouldn't carry too many with them. Second of all, the half-orange grade techniques they cultivated were mostly engraved versions from the sections. It was rare for half-orange grade techniques to be left in the storage rings. Not all geniuses were like Shunling Shuang, who held a lot of half-orange grade techniques but didn't cultivate them. Master, you're so powerful. Shunling Shuang stared at Lin Shan with admiration in her gem-like eyes. Lin Shan chuckled and said, "Of course. Otherwise, how could I be your master?" This time, all the geniuses of the Hongtian Hall were severely injured by Lin Shan. 3 of them had even died. His instant light split shadows was enough to crush his opponents. The peerless power of an orange-grade talent was truly unleashed. In a one-on-one situation, Lin Shan wouldn't be able to severely injure the red-robed young man, even if he used instant light split shadows. However, the red-robed young man just happened to come at him. Lin Shan's Sovereign's Descent was accumulating energy. Lin Shan grabbed one of the orange crystal treasure chests dropped by the red-robed young man. Opening the orange crystal treasure chest. Host receives talent combo frame. Lin Shan's eyes lit up. He could add another talent to his talent combo frame. Boom! At this moment, a yellow rainbow shot up from the clouds. This rainbow was colorful, with yellow as the main hue. The yellow rainbow bridge stretched for thousands of miles. Wherever it passed, it began to scatter spirit pills, precious medicines, pill formulas, scrolls, and 8th-grade heavenly materials and earthly treasures, falling down like a meteor shower. It's the first rainbow bridge. The treasures are descending. Lin Shun and his disciples' eyes lit up. Chapter 1008. System, I want to use the talent combo box, Instant Light, Split Shadows talent. Combo successful. The host's talent combo is Fatal Bloodthirst, Superdimensional Teleportation, Sovereign's Descent, Absolute Life and Death, Instant Light, Split Shadows. If the starting move of the talent combo skill is triggered, the combo talent can be used at will without consuming talent points or causing the original talent to enter cooldown. After registering the combo talent combo, Lin Shan recalled his clone and smiled at the 2 girls. Let's go and have a share of the loot. The 3 of them advanced at full speed toward the direction of the yellow rainbow. All the geniuses on Rainbow Island were also attracted by the rainbow bridge. They all followed the direction of the rainbow bridge and gathered in one place. Blood Plains. The main area that the rainbow bridge passed by was Blood Plains. The rich energy attracted not only the geniuses, but also countless ferocious beasts. A large number of Pinnacle 7-stage and 7-stage ferocious beasts gathered there. An 8th-stage Saint Material, Heart Tranquility Lotus, fell from the Rainbow Bridge into Blood Plains, immediately attracting a large number of ferocious beasts to charge over. Roar! Get lost, this is mine. Damn it, Black Mountain Old Ghost. Get back to your territory. Don't come and snatch it from me. Behemoths of high-level ferocious beasts collided and fought one another. They spoke human language and roared continuously, all fighting to snatch the rare treasure of the Rainbow Bridge. Lin Shun and the other 2 had just rushed out of the Sky Wolf Mountain range when they encountered a large group of people head-on. Ha ha! It's actually you, Lin Shun. I've searched high and low for you, only to find you by chance. I was just about to look for you, and you actually delivered yourself to my doorstep. In front of the large group were two young men in moon robes. They were handsome, but their faces revealed malevolence and greed. "Oh, are all of you also attracted by my handsomeness? Let me say first, although I like the latter, I'm not gay." Lin Chen smiled coquettishly. He was calm and not anxious, and did not rush because of the Rainbow Bridge's appearance. In such an environment, the first batch of people to eat meat might not be able to swallow it. Lin Chen knew this very well. Ning Qingxian was on guard, and Shunling Shuang looked like she was ready to fight at any time. The team in front of him had a total of 31 people. They were geniuses from Xuanyu. The 31 geniuses immediately spread out in a spiral formation, surrounding Lin Chen's group. Colorful battle chi surged around the 31 geniuses, and they were ready to attack at any time. The moon-robed youth in the lead sneered. "Don't play with words. I don't have time. Hand over your Providence plant pouch and scram. Otherwise, I'll have to spend some effort to snatch it from you and beat you into a pulp before handing you over to the 100 Saints Gate and Sun Moon Hall in exchange for some good stuff." They also had their eyes on Lin Chen's spirit plants of destiny. The value of 2 spirit plants of destiny was much more precious than the treasures that fell from the Rainbow Skybridge. They did not notice that someone from Hongtian Hall had died at the hands of Lin Shun. Once the Rainbow Skybridge appeared, who would have the time to stare at the genius ranking? Snatching treasures was the only way. There were very few people who could remain calm in the face of great benefits. "People like you, I usually call them flops." Lin Chen laughed arrogantly. "Ling Shuang, strike only after the enemy strikes." Shun Ling Shuang and Ning Qingxian gathered their strength. "You're courting death." The moon-robed youth's killing intent erupted. He sneered, and all the geniuses attacked at the same time. Numerous attacks swept over like a torrent of energy. Sabers and sword gleams. Battle chi took the form of dragons and eagles, wind tigers and cloud dragons. Lightning and fire appeared, and axes split the sky. The 31 top geniuses worked together to destroy the spirit chi within 100,000 feet. The air currents collapsed, and the mountains collapsed. Damn it, you all want to mess with me, right? Killing one is still killing. Killing 10,000 is still killing. Those who stand in my way will die. 8 transformations. Ultimate moment. Lin Chen's shoulders shook, and he raised his spear. In one breath, he released all 5 of his clones from the peach blossom plant pouch. Host consumed 31 intermediate talent points to activate instant light split shadows. Sword Fury Sky. Mirror Moon Imperial God. Annihilation. Royal Sky. Auspicious Feather. Feather Rainbow. High in the sky, 5 spiritual light pillars shot out, and with a flash, the peerless saber gleam that illuminated the world split into 5. A rainbow flashed, and the dazzling aurora withered. 5 divine lights burst out from the tip of the spear, and the arrow with a faint feather light fell like an aurora. The arrow split into 5 and collided head-on with a myriad of attacks. 5 streaks of earth-shattering orange sword gleams burned with fire tribulation flames, furiously slashing through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Bang! 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 Endless attacks collided head-on with earth-shattering momentum, stirring up a storm of 10,000 feet. The face of the moon-robed youth in the lead changed drastically. How can he be so powerful? Apart from the 2 moon-robed youths, 29 of the 31 geniuses were knocked back and vomited blood. 30% of the level 6 penetration runes' penetrative power penetrated their bodies, more or less causing injuries. Rip! A sonic boom suddenly sounded. It was unknown what kind of strange transparent edge had cut through the storm. The situation has changed. Retreat. Before the moon-robed youth could give the order, a total of 31 grayish-white talismans fell from the sky, consumed 62 points of high-grade rune energy to activate the slow rune. All the geniuses' movements suddenly slowed down and stagnated for a moment. A sense of impending doom enveloped everyone. Swish! The 20 flying daggers that had been hidden in the void turned into streaks of light on a horizontal plane, and all of them slashed at the 31 geniuses whose movements were sealed. The streaks of light from the flying daggers were stronger than the previous one. The power of the fourth slash cut through the geniuses' defenses like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood, causing them to turn pale with fright. Host has fully activated the passive talent. Assault, 300% power. Host has activated the passive talent twice. Tearing through the defenses of 2 enemy targets. Ning Qingxian and Shun Lingshuang appeared in the north and south respectively. With a light wave of their slender hands, hundreds of streaks of green light converged into a vast green light palm that crushed toward the geniuses. Shun Lingshuang's war demon burning sky fist was a series of violent punches. The situation was reversed instantly. All the geniuses' expressions changed drastically. 15 minutes later, in the valley, the Dragon Emperor was floating in the void, absorbing all the attribute light balls. Received 3 middle-grade talent points, 4 high-grade lightning energy points, 2 high-grade earth energy points, 2 high-grade spiritual power points, 2 middle-grade heaven's path points, 12 high-grade cultivation technique essence points, 899 strengthening points. These geniuses from Xuanyu were all formed at the last minute. Compared to the Hongtian Hall's team, they're much weaker. Lin Shen looked around and allowed the Dragon Emperor to swallow the bodies of all the geniuses, activating the Myriad Devour divine ability to refine them. The Dragon Emperor began to occupy the Peach Garden plant pouch and crazily devoured the Silver Saint Origin coins. Silver Saint Origin coins were also a great supplement for beasts. This was why all the sacred beasts liked to hunt humans, and a large part of it was to obtain Silver Saint Origin coins and Gold Saint Origin coins. The Dragon Emperor began to attack the 8 millionth Dragon Vein. Once it succeeded, it would transform into more than 80 million Dragon Power points. Lin Shun, you're actually this strong. If I didn't have this strength, how could I have brought up such an outstanding disciple? Remember to be more careful in your next life. The moon-robed youth who led the Xuanyu geniuses was killed by Lin Shun with a single chop. He died with his eyes wide open. Lin Shun threw him into the Peach Garden plant pouch and let the Dragon Emperor devour and refine it to attack the 8 millionth Dragon Vein. Chapter 1009. The current Lin Shun between his brows faintly had an evil and sharp temperament. Lin Shen didn't like killing, but he never showed mercy to his enemies. If others wanted to attack him, the murderous nature hidden in his heart would gradually reveal itself. Looks like I can go all out this time. Lin Shen's eyes flashed. Lin Shun had defeated all the prodigies and obtained 91 intermediate talent points. Not only did he make up for the cost of using instant light, split shadows, but he also earned a few dozen points. In the past, Lin Shen wouldn't use instant light, split shadows easily because his orange talent cost too much. But this time he could go all out and fight. Because these prodigies dropped a lot of attribute points, he wasn't afraid of using up all his talent points. I killed 21 of them in an instant, and then I killed another 4. Only 6 of them managed to escape. Lin Shen frowned. In a way, the red-robed young man from the Hongtian Hall was very strong. Even Sovereign's Descent and Instant Light, split shadows couldn't kill him. He even had the strength to escape from Lin Shun. Master, I've collected all the storage rings. Shun Lingshuang held the 10 storage rings excitedly. Let's go to the Rainbow Bridge. The 3 of them dashed toward the Rainbow Bridge. Along the way, Lin Shen encountered 7 or 8 teams. Most of them were like the prodigies from Xuanyu. They were afraid that they wouldn't get anything if they went alone, so they formed teams. There were also powerful lone wolves who all rushed towards the Yellow Rainbow Bridge. Just as Lin Shen and the others were about 1,000 li away from the Rainbow Sky Bridge, a several hundred zhang tall battle, Qi Mountain, suddenly slammed down from above their heads like Mount Tai. Ambush. Master, let me do it. Shun Lingshuang's body was like a rainbow. Her fist was like a dragon soaring through the sky as she furiously struck out. Chi! Bang! The mountain shattered, and the aftermath of the explosion filled the sky. Lin Shen, What else can you do besides hiding behind women? Today, apart from Fairy Ning, you and your master will all die. A cold and emotionless voice echoed in the sky. 12 figures floated in the air, coming from the east, overlooking Lin Chun and the others. The leading cyan-clothed young master's handsome and fair face was distorted with anger. He laughed sinisterly and said, "This time, I want to see who can help you, a trash hiding behind a woman." Lin Chun narrowed his eyes. "Oh, Orient Yao, you've delivered yourself to me." Orient Yao was ranked 10099 on the genius ranking. He was one of the top geniuses among the super geniuses. These 12 geniuses were all the geniuses of the 100 Saints Gate. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Both sides had only entered Rainbow Island for a short period of time, yet they had already encountered each other. Ning Qingxian remained calm as she stood beside Lin Chun. No matter what happened, she would always choose to stand beside Lin Chun. "Master, let me beat him up again." Shun Ling Shuang rubbed her palms together in anticipation. Lin Chun stretched out his hand to stop her. "Little girl, let me do it. You go and deal with the others." Lin Chen's battle intent was surging, but he was more vigilant than anything else. Orient Yao had lost to Shun Ling Shuang before. He should have expected that Lin Shan would send Shun Ling Shuang to deal with him. Since he is so confident in dealing with us, it's possible that he will use a killing move stronger than the one he used against Shun Ling Shuang. If that's the case, we can't let Ling Shuang take the risk. Lin Chen's doppelgangers activated Ultimate Restoration and armed themselves to the teeth. Azura 9 Brilliance Transformation, 8 Layers Transformation. Lin Chen's hand seals changed, and his battle aura surged, temporarily reaching the level of a 4 Tribulation Combat Emperor. The Rainbow Sky Bridge has appeared. Senior brother, let's end this quickly. Everyone, let's crush them. Let these guys see the 100 Saints Gates. Before Orient Yao could finish his words, a sense of danger shrouded his heart. Consume 10 points of high-grade rune energy to activate level 6 Heavenly Invisibility, Recharge, and Penetration runes. Orient Yao subconsciously activated his Heavenly Blood Armor. Clang, clang, clang. The 4 flying daggers were like deadly streaks of light, slashing onto the blood-red armor without any warning. The daggers left deep marks on the ground, and Orient Yao was sent flying several thousand meters away. He crashed into the mountain peak and shattered into pieces. Senior brother Dongfang, sneak attack, attack. The 11 geniuses of the 100 Saints Gate were enraged and attacked Lin Chun and the others. Blue Sea Flood Dragon. The 3 geniuses summoned 3 Blue Sea Dragons, and huge waves of battle aura surged. The dragons in the sea attacked everyone. Shun Ling Shuang turned into a faint rainbow, and with a whip kick, she tore the 3 Blue Sea Dragons apart. "I won't let you disturb, Master." Shun Ling Shuang fought the 3 geniuses head-on. Sneak attack. Orient Yao raised his eyebrows and glared, gritting his teeth. He pulled out his level 8 sacred sword from his body. If it wasn't for his quick reflexes, the flying daggers would have been enough to injure him severely. "Do you think I'll have a fair duel with someone like you who sneak attacked my disciple after a battle?" Lin Chun sneered. When he saw the level 8 armor, he quickly activated the Phantom Rune to make up for the weakened state of his doppelganger after using 4 consecutive strikes of Vanishing Shadow. "Qing Xian, be careful. Just delay them," Lin Chun instructed. He flapped his Holy Phoenix wings, turned into a dragon shadow, and rushed to Orient Yao's area as fast as lightning. White Shark Blade Wave. Sword Devour. The 7 geniuses used their ultimate skills. Many half-orange rank battle skills came at Lin Chun like a torrent, trying to stop him. His 5 doppelgangers used Dragon Flash and fully used the Charging Rune and Instant Light Split Shadows talent to fight the 7 geniuses head-on. In the void, only the beautiful woman from the 100 Saints Gate and Ning Qingxian were left. "As long as I kill you, Senior Brother will change his mind. It's all because of your appearance that Senior Brother is obsessed with you. Die." The woman's killing intent was obvious. Her fingertips swayed, and battle aura swept through the surroundings. Thousand wind raging gale. The woman released more than 10 black battle aura hurricanes, which enveloped Ning Qingxian. Her strength was second only to Orient Yao. Ning Qingxian was unperturbed. Her slender, jade-like hand streaked across the air with multicolored brilliance. She pointed her finger, and a multicolored finger light shattered the ink-colored battle aura hurricane head-on. Ning Qingxian's strength was not as simple as it seemed on the surface. On the other side, two rays of light that flashed with extreme speed collided violently with each other, and they collided over and over again. Everywhere they passed, the airflow was sucked dry, origin energy exploded, and mountains and rivers collapsed. It shocked many geniuses that flashed past in the vicinity. One of the lights emitted a terrifying, devouring power. The sword light was like a river in the sky, swallowing everything in its path. A red light slashed down. Lin Shen pulled his spear and stabbed forward. His spear was like a crazy bee, stabbing out again and again. Every time he charged up, he would shoot out a burst of imperial gung metal chi. This kid is really fast, but if he wants to suppress me with speed, it's the stupidest choice. Orient Yao sneered, and the speed of his swordsmanship increased exponentially. Clang, clang, clang. The indestructible golden calamity mystic handle was swallowed by the blood-red sword light every time. The collision of the spear and sword was like a battle between two giant dragons. When Lin Shen encountered Dongfang Yao, it could be said to be a meeting of enemies. Their eyes were exceptionally red, and their attacks were filled with killing intent. Both sides wanted to end this battle quickly. Chapter 1010. Orient Yao slashed out a colored glaze sword chi. The wind and clouds dimmed as everything was sucked away. Lin Shen waved his left hand, and the 3 flying daggers turned into 15 flying daggers. With a flash, they split apart the colored glaze sword chi. The sword chi shattered into pieces. No matter how good Lin Shen's movement technique was, he was still hit by the 7 pieces of light. The aged metal chi that flowed around his body was torn apart, and he was covered in blood. This move again. This kid's moves are so strange. Orient Yao squinted his eyes, and the sword chi was destroyed. I have to admit that this kid is able to fight against me with just a 3rd Tribulation Realm cultivation. The power of his battle technique is far beyond his cultivation level. It's comparable to an orange rank battle technique. If he grows to a 4th Tribulation Combat Emperor, the power of his battle technique alone will be enough to shake me. Not to mention a 5th Tribulation Realm cultivation. After the real fight, Orient Yao finally stopped underestimating him. In his eyes, Lin Shen was far from being that weak. His potential was terrifying. This kind of enemy must be killed in advance. This bastard is even stronger than the guy in the Hongtian Hall. Lin Shen was secretly shocked. He held the spear in his right hand and used Origin Restoration to make up for his exhaustion. He used a slow rune to seal Orient Yao for a breath's time. Lin Shen's spear, riding the heavens, pierced out, the sharp edge of the aged metal sword piercing through. Clang! When his heavenly Een blood armor blocked Lin Shen's spear, the sword chi in his body burst out and broke through the slow rune. Orient Yao held his sword and slashed down. Wherever the sword passed, it left behind a trace of darkness that made one's hair stand on end. Spiritual energy burst out from between his eyebrows, and the instant light cloned shadow was annihilated. The spiritual annihilation light beam that could move mountains and rivers rammed forward. The blood-red sword cut through 5 spiritual annihilation light beams, and the sound of a spiritual explosion shook Orient Yao. The 30% penetration power forced Orient Yao to retreat again and again. Dragon Flash stepped forward, and Lin Shen appeared behind him and thrust his spear. Who knew that it was actually a fake body? Die! A sense of crisis enveloped Lin Shen. A sword light that resembled an eagle's claw slashed down from the void above his head. The claw was raised, and the sword light enveloped Lin Shun. TSK. A grayish-white talisman exploded, and the sword mark stopped. Lin Shun flapped his sacred phoenix wings and dodged away. With a bang, the sword mark twisted into thin air. This move again. Why does this brat have so many strange moves? Orient Yao was startled. He turned around and tried to retreat. Thousands upon thousands of dragon-like chi forces suddenly exploded from the top of his head. Life and death ultimate strength. I want to see if your tortoise shell can protect your dog head. Lin Shin gathered all his strength and punched Orient Yao's head. Activated complete passive talent. Assault. Power increase. 300%. He was caught off guard. 2 blood wings sprouted from his shoulder armor and blocked the punch. However, the violent force still shook Orient Yao until he lost consciousness. 2 attribute light balls rolled out of his body. Lin Shun was about to follow up with another attack when the colored glass, sacred sword in Orient Yao's hand seemed to automatically protect its owner. It swept toward Lin Shun and forced Lin Shun to retreat. The two of them were panting. Orient Yao's heavenly blood armor needed to absorb his essence blood to activate it. The more they fought, the more injured he became. A battle emperor had to pay a price for controlling more than 2 completed sacred artifacts. Similarly, Lin Shin was not much better off. Every one of Orient Yao's sword techniques had a powerful devouring property. Even someone as strong as Lin Shun would be crippled or even killed if he was careless. This forced Lin Shun to fight with his life on the line. He used the slow rune and orange rank talent the entire time. During this time, he had to rely on Long Qingguo and ultimate Gui Yuan to heal his injuries. Damn it, where did this kid come from? How can a 3-calamity battle emperor fight me like this? If I keep fighting like this, I'll use up all my trump cards first. It's not good for my next move. Every treasure on the Rainbow Bridge is precious. I can't miss it. Orient Yao's heart was heavy. Lin Shun wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and used this time to heal his injuries. I don't have the prerequisites to use Sovereign's Descent. The only way is to use a large amount of rune energy to seal him with the slow rune. However, he's already on guard against the slow rune. Every time he attacks, he'll first maintain a defensive posture. Lin Shin glanced at the other battles. Ling Shuang and Ning Qingxian were already at a disadvantage. 2 of Shun Lingshuang's opponents were super geniuses ranked within 10500. It was too disadvantageous for her to fight 3 alone. If I keep fighting like this, Ling Shuang and Qing Xian might be in danger. Lin Chen frowned. If he wanted to kill Orient Yao, he only had the absolute life and death talent and the God of War bracers left. Using either of these 2 trump cards was risking his life. Both Lin Shun and Orient Yao could feel the consequences of each other's efforts. If he wanted to kill his opponent, he would have to give it his all, including his life. Orient Yao retreated and sent a message via battle aura. The geniuses of the 100 Saints Gate retreated from the battle. The junior brothers looked at Lin Shun with astonishment and surprise. This kid is so strong? Even senior brother Dong Feng couldn't take him down? Lin Shun, consider yourself lucky. Fight for the Rainbow Sky Bridge first. This duke will torture you next time. Dong Feng Yao sneered sinisterly. He exchanged glances with his junior brothers and quickly rushed towards the Rainbow Bridge. At this moment, the Rainbow Sky Bridge began to drop a large number of exotic treasures, including some rank 8 treasures and pill recipes. Many geniuses had already started fighting for them. Are you okay? Lin Shin handed over a dozen Long Qingguo to the 2 girls. Ning Qingxian took the Long Qingguo. They're all light injuries. Shun Ling Shuang chewed on the Long Qingguo and wrinkled her nose. If it wasn't for the 3 of them, I would definitely be able to help Master. You have already done very well. Don't worry, as long as he is still on Rainbow Island. I don't believe that I can't kill him. Lin Shan smiled as a fierce glint flashed in his eyes. As long as he could find new, odd crystal fragments and new killing techniques, he didn't believe that he couldn't kill Orient Yao. Lin Shen looked at his 5 clones and saw that they were all riddled with injuries. My doppelgangers can fight against 19,000 geniuses at most. Zhen Deshuai and Zhen Dang, who have Atlas and Azure Moon, can fight against 15,000 geniuses. But if they encounter super first-rate geniuses, they will have to use Flashlight Split Shadow to fight. Including Qing Xian and Ling Shuang, my current combat strength can only deal with 6 to 8 super geniuses within 10500. If I encounter those guys from Sun Moon Hall, I won't be their match and will have to rely on high-energy slow runes to escape. Lin Shen narrowed his eyes. After a few battles, he already knew his foundation. If he didn't want to rely on his orange talent to fight with super geniuses within 10500, he had to reach the 4th tribulation. It was too difficult to fight someone 2 ranks higher, not to mention fighting a genius like Orient Yao, who was 2 ranks higher. Received 4 intermediate talent points for advanced rune energy, 6 intermediate heaven path points, 2,299 advanced battle chi essences, 3 advanced technique essences. The clones collected all the attribute light balls. This battle was the worst battle Lin Chun had fought since he entered Rainbow Island. Treasures are dropping from the Rainbow Sky Bridge. Let's go. After repairing the clones, Lin Chun and his group moved again. 4 hours later, Lin Chun arrived at the bottom of the Rainbow Sky Bridge and was dumbfounded. The plains as far as the eye could see were all enveloped by the yellow Rainbow Bridge. Limitless Great Star Hand, Petrifying Finger, 8 Desolation, Coiling Dragon Whip. Roar! You damned human crawl. Damn it. I will devour all of you humans. In the blood plains, the smell of blood was like the wind. Countless high-level ferocious beasts, various geniuses, and chaotic essence energy storms erupted. Battle techniques and ultimate techniques clashed in a frenzy. They were either seizing medicinal pills, pill formulas, or seizing 8th-grade treasures of heaven and earth, and they fought to the point countless chaotic storms of blood were formed. The center of the storm was the center of the battle, and the killing intent was overwhelming. There were also some geniuses who managed to snatch top-grade alchemy handprints, but before they could be happy, they were heavily injured by other geniuses. They could only abandon their spoils of war and flee in a sorry state. The battle is really earth-shattering, Lin Chun roughly looked. There were more than 4,000 ferocious beasts in the blood plains, but the exact number was unknown. There were less than 2,000 geniuses who had arrived at the plains. From the sky to the ground, wherever there were treasures, there would be intense battles. The ferocious beasts mainly fought for pills and 8th-grade treasures. These were treasures that contained high energy and could directly increase their cultivation. Meanwhile, the geniuses fought for everything. Alchemy handprints and recipes were incomparably precious. Master, let's go and fight for them too. They're all good things. Shen Ling Shuang eagerly waved her little fists, her face full of excitement. Lin Chun knocked her little head and said seriously, "Remember, you must remain calm before you fight for things. Blindly fighting for things is useless. Master will teach you a lesson." The little girl held her head, feeling wronged. Ning Qingxian smiled and comforted the little girl. No matter when, she was like an otherworldly fairy, as if nothing in the mortal world could move her. This trip to Rainbow Island was completely in accordance with her master's arrangements. To be able to meet Lin Shen again was already the greatest surprise of her life. At the very least, she liked to quietly accompany him like this. To be able to help him, to be able to stand with him and face any difficulties. Blindly fighting will only consume energy. Even if I have a clone, it's impossible for me to defeat all the geniuses here. If I want to choose, I must choose the best. The treasures on the yellow Rainbow Bridge fell like a meteor shower onto the blood plains. Lin Chun activated his purple golden eyes, and those treasures were revealed to him again and again. After 2 breaths, Lin Chun found a common point. All top-grade treasures had the light of an attribute ball attached to them. Lin Chun had a cheap smile on his face. I'll remember all the good things. I'll definitely be the king of robbers. Chapter 1011. After activating GoldenEye's twin, Lin Chen's field of vision was broadened to the extreme. When he looked around, he found a common point. Top-grade treasures all have attribute light balls. There were also many geniuses hiding outside the plains, doing the same thing as Lin Chen. They conserved their energy and hid in the dark. Like powerful cheetahs, they waited calmly and only chose top-grade treasures to attack. However, Lin Chun had an advantage over everyone else, and that was that he could see attribute light balls. In less than 10 breaths' time, Lin Chun had already discovered a few targets. There were Tier 8 pill recipes, alchemy handprints, and as long as it was a unique treasure, they all had attribute light balls or even attribute treasure chests attached to them. Lin Chun immediately chose more than 10 targets and memorized them all. Among them, an earth-yellow ancient jade box was the main target. This ancient jade box contained a resplendent orange attribute treasure chest. I've chosen a target. Follow me. Lin Chun pulled the two girls and rushed into the battlefield. Next, he released the Shintoku Sho clone and used the Dragon Flash movement technique. The Shintoku Sho activated the 8-layer transformations and the ultimate moment innate skill, drawing the bow and shooting arrows. Arrows of light condensed from calamity light shot out. The arrows fell like feathers, and the light feathers withered. The slower it seemed to the naked eye, the faster the arrows became. They swept across the battlefield. The might of the arrows of the lucky feather cleared many obstacles for Lin Chen's group. As long as Lin Chun didn't participate in any battle, no matter if it was geniuses or fierce beasts, they would all avoid him. Lin Chun pulled the two girls and pushed forward at full speed, quickly killing their way into the battlefield south of the main core of the plains. There was a battlefield there, and 3 geniuses were fighting fiercely, fighting over an earth-yellow scroll. Speed scripture, attack scripture, recovery scripture. Ning Qingshuan's slender hands danced quickly, and 3 rays of light, blue, green, and red, bathed the 3 of them. Lin Chun immediately felt that his battle chi circulation speed and quantity were several times stronger than before. Let's go. I will do my best to support you. Ning Qingxian nodded. Lin Chun and Shun Lingshuang glanced at each other and suddenly activated their movement techniques. Lin Chen once again used the 8-layer transformations and the ultimate moment. Master and disciple. One transformed into the white light dragon shadow, while the other rode on a rainbow. Their speed was extremely fast. Someone else wants to get involved? The 3 geniuses fighting over the scroll instantly felt a sense of danger. Shenling Shuang and Lin Chen arrived at the same time. The master and disciple both violently punched out. Demon Burning Heaven Fist. 7 ultimate forces, 7 forces in one. The dragon force that was rotating like an evil dragon swept across the sky, and the flame-burning fist that was rotating like a tornado crashed into the 3 geniuses. The 3 geniuses displayed their ultimate skills one after another. One brandished his sword in the air, one brandished his hammer and smashed it down, and one shot out 100 pitch-black thunderbolts. Whoosh! A flying knife flashed and slashed at one of the geniuses, hitting his noble spirit sword aura. A chaotic battle was about to break out. Activated passive talent, Assault. Power bonus, 300%. Bang, bang, bang. Both sides exchanged blows, and they were evenly matched. Whoosh! At this moment, a strange afterimage rushed into the battle aura storm. It was actually a genius who was good at hiding. He was waiting for an opportunity to snatch the treasure box when the 3 geniuses were fighting. The appearance of Lin Chun and his disciple created this opportunity for him. Oh no! The 3 geniuses cursed inwardly. Lin Chen's lips curled up slightly. Just when the 3 geniuses thought that the alchemy handprint had fallen into the hands of this genius, an afterimage that was even faster than him swept past and instantly snatched the treasure box. After snatching the treasure box, that person's speed did not decrease. After snatching it, he ran away and laughed complacently. Ha ha! Feng Shi, you are still too young. Haven't you heard that the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind? This young master is the real hunt. Bang! An arrow exploded and stopped the genius who called himself a hunter. The 30% penetration caused him to vomit blood. The geniuses were shocked. They saw Shintoku Sho's figure appear in the air and stop the white-clothed young master. Then, the other 4 clones of Lin Chen quickly appeared and surrounded him. Hiss! That genius sucked in a breath of cold air. Jundok Shui laughed coquettishly and said, Hunter, what are you showing off for? Haven't you heard of the Black Horse Club behind the hunters? I'll give you one breath. If you don't hand over the jade box, you will die. That genius's facial muscles twitched a few times. He decisively threw out the alchemy handprint scroll and retreated while cursing. F***CK, how unlucky. The other 4 geniuses saw the situation clearly and quickly retreated to find other targets. With his clones covering him, Lin Chen quickly opened the jade box. Inside the simple jade box were 2 bottles of pills, a jade scroll, and a scroll of alchemy handprints. Ning Qingxian opened the jade scroll and looked at it. She was slightly surprised. This is the long-lost peak 7th grade pill, the strange birth tribulation pill. It can increase the probability of a 1st to 4th tribulation war emperor's breakthrough. It also has a top-grade purple grade alchemy handprint. Both of them were top-grade rare treasures. Lin Chen grabbed the orange crystal treasure chest floating in the jade box. Opening the orange crystal treasure chest, host receives half-orange grade alchemy handprint, the true dragon divine hand. Half-orange grade alchemy handprint? F***CK, I've earned a lot. Lin Chen was ecstatic. He quickly put away the 2 bottles of strange birth tribulation pills and divided them with Shunling Xuan. Ning Qingxian was already a 5th tribulation war emperor. The pills were useless to her. It seems that there are still many treasures waiting for us. Ling Xuan, Qingxian, let's go. Next, Lin Chen moved with his clones and the 2 girls. Lin Chen was not greedy. He would not fight for rare treasures that did not have attribute light balls. He would only fight for rare treasures that had attribute light balls. It was fine if he did not attack, but once he attacked, all his clones would attack together to ensure the highest success rate. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. With a flash, Lin Chen and his clones shuttled through the battlefield. Activated passive talent, Assault. Power increase, 300%. Activated passive talent, Assault. Power increase, 300%. His innate shadow art could eliminate all auras. His sneak attacks were like a fish in water. He even defeated a few of the 14,000 geniuses with one attack. After a few rounds of fierce battles, Lin Chen's gains were extremely plentiful. Opening the orange crystal treasure chest, received 250,000 enhancement points. Received a high-quality dual attribute light ball. Received 200 intermediate heavens path points, 200 intermediate talent points. Opening the water jade treasure chest, received 60 advanced water energy. Opening the spiritual wood treasure chest, received 70 advanced wood energy. Rank 8 pill formula Saint Crystal explosive source pill. Rank 8 natural treasure 9th stage ghost vine. Rank 7 peak lost medicinal pill purple charm flowing light pill. After a rough count, Lin Chen became fiercer as he fought. His gains were dazzling. There are attribute light balls over there as well. Rank 8 embryonic pills. Lin Chen's eyes flashed. 2 rank 8 embryonic pills had appeared at the same time. On the north side of the plains, the earth was torn apart. Auras filled the sky as sword shadows flashed, causing the clouds to lose their color. The 2 Saint embryonic pills had transformed into a spirit fox and a white snake. These are their spiritual forms. At this time, they were sealed in the air by the rainbow bridge, like 2 blazing suns hanging in the sky. The 10 peak level vicious beasts were either tens of Zhang or hundreds of zhang in size. Their auras were overflowing, each occupying an area. On the other side, there were over 20 burly figures floating in the air. Their auras were as deep as the sea, as if they could cover the heavens and earth. Some were covered in scales, their eyes filled with ferocity. Some were covered in ferocious scales and had horns on their heads. They looked ferocious. They were all body refinement geniuses. They were the geniuses of Manu. The figures on the two sides were all exquisite and graceful, each with their own unique charm. They were the female geniuses of the heart-refining palace. Oh, interesting. Lin Shen smiled playfully. He used the innate shadow art to eliminate the aura and charged into the three-way battle. The birth of two rank 8 embryonic pills had caused an unprecedented three-way battle. The battle lasted for a long time without a victor being decided. However, it was obvious that the female geniuses of the heart-refining palace were powerless. Peak body refinement battle emperors were far superior to other experts in terms of endurance. Looking at their lineup, the female geniuses of the heart-refining palace did not have the advantage of obtaining the rank 8 embryonic pills. Even with the 10230 ranked Jiang Yun holding the line, they were still inferior in terms of numbers. However, Lin Shen felt that the female geniuses of the heart-refining palace hadn't given up yet. It was as if they had something to rely on. Feng Jinyu, the young master of the giant dragon sect of Manu, looked at the female geniuses of the heart-refining palace and smiled lewdly. The female geniuses of the heart-refining palace are all different from the female geniuses of our sect. Hee, brothers, remember to take a few women with you after obtaining the rank 8 embryonic pills. The muscles on his body wriggled like dragons, and the horns on his head made him look like a wild beast. The female geniuses of the heart-refining palace shuddered and felt a sense of disgust. Jiang Yun of the heart-refining palace glanced at Sun Yuer and said in a deep voice, "Everyone, hold on for a little longer." Lin Shen smiled playfully when he saw this scene. Interesting, there are 2 high-quality spiritual energy balls on the rank 8 embryonic pills. I happen to need them. Ling Shuang, get it. The dragon's shadow flashed horizontally, and Lin Shen led his clone and the 2 geniuses into the battlefield. Die. Feng Jinyu transformed his hand into dragon scales, which then transformed into a dragon claw. He swept it horizontally, and the dragon arm let out a series of furious roars, exuding an immortal power that could shatter mountains and rivers. This claw's dragon power exceeded 99 million and reached the limit of a battle emperor. It was also enhanced by the aura of a primordial golden dragon, and its domineering might could destroy the heavens. The other 10 geniuses of man you also attacked. All of them had special body constitutions or bloodlines, and their pure strength made them as powerful as humanoid ferocious beasts. The other half of the geniuses were on guard against the 10 behemoths. The female geniuses of the heart-refining palace had serious expressions. Rip. At this moment, the tip of the spear drew a golden arc across the sky. The flying dagger was like a graceful butterfly, and it shattered a large amount of energy. Faint lightning shadows and feathers floated around the arrow, causing the sky to lose its color. A group of figures flashed to the side of the female geniuses of the heart-refining palace, and they were surprised and delighted. Feng Jinyu's expression changed slightly, and he said in surprise, "Lin Shen, it's you?" Chapter 10:12. What do you think? Are you surprised? Lin Shen smiled mockingly at Feng Jinyu, then turned to Jiang Yun. "Miss Jiang Yun, do you want to work together? How about we split it 50-50? Jiang Yun looked around and saw that there were actually so many people around Lin Shen. She could not help but be shocked in her heart. The prodigies around him had just taken on the attacks of the top prodigies of Manu. How could he gather such a powerful force in such a short time? Jiang Yun was also a smart person. She immediately nodded and said, "Yes, we don't need to defeat them. We just need to delay them." We still have a backup plan. Lin Chen smiled. I can see that. Whoosh. Bang. At that moment, Feng Jinyu shot out a battle-force jade scroll, and it exploded in the sky. Feng Jinyu laughed maniacally. Haha, you actually delivered yourself to me. Lin Chen, I think you have a death wish. Damn it, I've been thinking about him for a long time. Beat him hard. Don't worry about the Tier 8 embryonic pill. Let's snatch this kid's Long Qing Shu first. With the Long Qing Shu, just a Long Qingwo produced every year alone can create countless prodigies. With enough resources accumulated every 100 years, they can even reach the saint stage. Mother of Asterisker, I've already found 18 wives, and now I can't take it anymore. If I can eat a large amount of Long Qing fruits, I'll be able to obtain the legendary female divine weapon, Dragon King's heaven-raising spear. Haha, I'll be able to live a carefree and happy life every day. At that moment, 2 more teams of prodigies from Manu appeared. The 2 leading prodigies bared their teeth and released a vicious aura. They were like hungry tigers staring at a group of sheep. Both teams had about 25 people, and they surrounded Lin Chen and the others. Including Feng Jinyu's original team, there were 78 people in total. All of them had the combat power of 23,000 people on the genius list. They were terrifyingly strong. Although their teamwork was not as good as that of the Hongtian Hall, they were much stronger than the temporary teams formed by the prodigies of Xuanyu. Their target was Lin Chen's Long Qing Shu. The women of the heart-refining palace were horrified. So many body cultivators are surrounding us. Oh no, we'll die from exhaustion in the long battle. Jiang Yun's face was extremely gloomy. The situation of this battle was rather grim, and they might suffer heavy losses just trying to break out of the encirclement. She glanced at Lin Chen valiantly and discovered that this young man was exuding a sense of excitement and agitation, as if victory was already in his hands. F***, let's go big this time. Lin Shan took out several kinds of peak 7th level medicinal pills and threw them to his clones. Then, Jiang Yun and the other women were dumbfounded. Other than Lin Shan, everyone in the Black Horse Club opened their bottles and swallowed all kinds of lost pills. Their auras suddenly increased. Purple Charm Flowing Light Pill, Mysterious Absolute Explosive Chi Pill, Great Strength Vajra Pill, Ancient Sword Chi Pill, etc. They all took it, other than Lin Shun. The people of the Black Horse Club all became 3 meters tall. They were like human-shaped monsters. Their combat power had at least doubled. These pills were all obtained from the Rainbow Bridge. They were all top-quality pills that had been lost. These were top-quality pills that could temporarily increase the power of one's movement or combat skills. The combat power of all the clones had temporarily increased by a large amount. It was very simple. Pills that temporarily increased power all had serious side effects. But Lin Chen's clones were not afraid of these side effects. If the clones were damaged, they could immediately use the Phantom Runes to reform them. This was also why Lin Chen could use the 4th style of Vanishing Shadow, Flying Dagger, without restraint. Swallowing these pills is like sacrificing 800 to kill one's enemies. Was Prince Lin Chen thinking? Jiang Yin was shocked. Roar! Take advantage of the infighting among the humans and snatch them. Get lost, the pills are mine. The 10 wild beasts were very intelligent. Seeing that the Manu geniuses had surrounded Lin Chen and the others, they immediately started a big battle to snatch the 8th grade embryonic pill. Lin Chen opened the system and took a look. Intermediate talent points, 2,291. Advanced rune energy, 2,388 points. System, activates Sovereign's Descent. Consumed 15 intermediate talent points to activate Sovereign's Descent. Cool down 1 day. Entering energy accumulation state, 0 points. Lin Chen had taken the initiative to activate Sovereign's Descent. Ms. Jiang, when the fight starts later, take your people to snatch the 8th grade embryonic pill. Leave these guys to my people. His private telepathic message scared Jiang Yin out of her wits. Snatch the 8th grade embryonic pill? The other party obviously wouldn't give you a chance to break out. Facing such a terrifying lineup, even she, a super genius ranked 10150, didn't dare to say that she could force her way out. Jiangyan didn't have time to think at all. All the Man-Yu geniuses were ready to fight. Everyone, you should know what this means to us after snatching the Long Qing Shu. Bring out all your trump cards and fight to the death. Don't worry about those girls. Just fight Lin Shen. At Feng Jinyu's command, all the Man-Yu geniuses unleashed a terrifying aura. Their fingers were filled with dragon power that could crush stars. Some slapped out with their palms, forming primordial barbarian elephants. Some of them condensed all the energy in their bodies and slashed out a stunning Milky Way saber chi, which was mixed with a pure strength that could sever mountains and seas. Some slapped out with their palms, forming dragons and snakes at an incredible speed. Primordial eagles formed by battle aura pounced. Majestic primordial wolves howled and ran, and primordial crocodiles destroyed the sky and swallowed everything in their path. In the sky and on the ground, in all directions, there were 40 Man-Yu geniuses attacking with all their might. The other 38 were preparing for a second wave of attacks to ensure that the Heart-Refining Palace and Lin Shen's team could withstand the first wave of attacks, and there would be a second wave of attacks until they were exhausted. Shunling Shuang let out a delicate shout, and her war demon Burning Heaven's fist struck out with the momentum of 10,000 galloping horses. The revolving fire calamity fist blasted apart the 7 ancient goshawks, crippled wolves, and barbaric elephants that were condensed from battle chi, and then they were annihilated under the numerous attacks. Consume 200 advanced rune energy to activate level 6 slow rune. Boom! Whoosh! Lin Shen suddenly pushed out his hands, and hundreds of gray talismans fell from the sky. The gray talismans either exploded above the Man-Yu geniuses' heads or stopped all the attacks and slowed them down. What the hell is this? Space seal? Impossible. How can a combat emperor seal the space of Rainbow Island? While all the Man-Yu geniuses were shocked, all of Lin Shen's clones unleashed a destructive aura that could shatter heaven and earth. Consumed 39 intermediate talent points to activate instant light split shadows. Mirror Moon God. Lucky Feather. 3 shadows kill. 4 shadows combo. Sky Riding Spear. Sword Fury Sky. Annihilation. Life and Death Ultimate Force. Boom. All of Lin Shen's clones used all their trump cards in an instant. The flying daggers in the sky cut through the boundless energy and exploded into shocking waves. The sword light flashed and cut through the immemorial beasts formed by dragon power and battle aura. The blue light beam of spiritual annihilation shattered all the chaotic essence chi and reversed the attack in an instant. The dragon-like energy pierced through the sky and smashed into the geniuses. The mirror moon blade, which had split into 5, annihilated all the battle aura. Its power penetrated many geniuses, and their tough bodies began to crack and bleed. The lightning-like arrow light pierced through dozens of geniuses' bodies, severely injuring them. Like a golden rainbow, it flashed through the sky and pierced through a few of the geniuses in the lead. They died with their eyes open. A large number of colorful elemental light balls rolled out of these geniuses' bodies and floated in the air. Ning Qingxian and Shun Lingshuang cooperated with Lin Shen's attack. They rushed to the front line and launched a storm of attacks on the geniuses who were lucky enough to survive. The girls in the Heart-Refining Palace were stunned. Jiang Yun's mouth trembled a few times. Those who want to take advantage of me die. Lin Shen's murderous, intense sword. Since he had already attacked, there was no retreat. At this time, Lin Shen didn't realize the seriousness of the problem caused by his massacre. However, with his personality, he probably wouldn't stop even if he knew. In his bottom line, there was no such thing as showing mercy to his enemies. Chapter 10:13. Back to when a yellow rainbow bridge had just appeared. Inside the venue on Chilan Island, The remaining 40,000 geniuses, 200 old antiques, and sages had just recovered from the shock of what had happened in the vast Heaven Palace. Other than the Hontian Hall incident, there were two other geniuses whose names had dimmed during this period, but no new names had taken their place. They had either died in a dangerous situation or died at the hands of geniuses who were ranked higher than them. On the Holy Light list, every name that disappeared represented the death of a top genius from the 36 domains. This was the path chosen by the geniuses. The geniuses who were able to survive Rainbow Island would be far ahead of others, even if they became sages in the future. However, accidents came one after another. The Holy Light list began to float at high speed again. What's going on? Again? This time, it's a genius from Xuanyu. F*CK. The geniuses and sages were stunned. The names that disappeared from the genius list began to increase again. This time, even more names disappeared from the Holy Light list. 13 geniuses from 20,500 to 21,300 disappeared in one go. 13 top geniuses died in one go. It wasn't over yet. Immediately after, another 12 names dimmed. They were the geniuses from 19,300 to 19,700. On the Holy Light list, 2 new names were replaced, and they were at the top of the list of names that had disappeared. 19307 on the genius list, uncanny workmanship, Jean de Jean. Affiliation, Black Horse Club. 19301 on the genius list, one swords only, Jundak Shuai. Affiliation, Black Horse Club. 19300 on the genius list, deity descending, Lin Chun. Affiliation, Black Horse Club. Everyone's scalp exploded, instantly killing 25 geniuses. The sages' mouths trembled. It was the Black Horse Club again. Lan Ruoxue and Mo Qing's pupils trembled in fear. This scene was too shocking and too familiar. That day in the Tsongyu's secret realm, when the name Black Horse Club was first heard in the 36 domains of the sacred boundary, it was the same. The history was shockingly similar. But how long had it been? From its Tsongyu mystery realm to the Heavenless Assembly, it hadn't even been 5 months. From instantly killing over 90,000 geniuses to instantly killing over 20,000 geniuses and even 19,000 geniuses, it had only taken him 5 months. The Black Horse Club's growth was unprecedented. But how is this possible? Even a genius from a 5th-ranked sect wouldn't be able to instantly kill 25 top geniuses. Whether or not I can beat him is one thing. If I want to escape, then it's definitely not a problem. The geniuses were shocked and trembling, and their minds went blank. It's him. Father, it's him. Yu Qingli and Yu Yulan excitedly stood up. The two sisters' eyes were filled with tears. Jundak Shuai made his move. This proved that his life was no longer in danger. Oh my God, he actually killed 25 geniuses. He really is a god descending to the mortal world. The monarch was so shocked that his teeth were chattering. He had a premonition that an unprecedentedly terrifying storm would surely brew on Rainbow Island this time. This is too outrageous. Is it possible to kill dozens of geniuses ranked over 20,000? I still don't believe it. After all, Rainbow Island is too dangerous. Maybe the Black Horse Club is just taking advantage. Is there a hole in your brain? You can take advantage once, but can you do it twice? This is obviously the Black Horse Club's big move. Many of the geniuses who stayed to watch were so excited that they couldn't stop arguing. My disciple is also dead? A few old antiques were a little hysterical because of the death of their disciples, as if they were grieving for their parents. Some of the Sage Realm experts also panicked. Oh no, our Xuanyu's geniuses this year are weak. Originally, they were supposed to form a team and work together to find opportunities. I didn't expect that more than half of them would be killed. It's over. If they continue to kill like this, the Black Horse Club must be crazy. Damn it, these bastards, what are they doing provoking the Black Horse Club? With the experience of the sages, they could naturally speculate more details. Even in the face of a 5th-grade sect genius, if the 31 Xuanyu geniuses wanted to run, the other party wouldn't be able to stop them. The only possibility was that the Xuanyu geniuses took the initiative to start a fight. There was no doubt that, combined with the situation of the Hongtian Hall geniuses, the Black Horse Club had the strength to kill them instantly. But just like the opening of the Blood Curtain, a few hours after the opening of the Yellow Rainbow Bridge, the fierce quarrels on Kirin Island didn't stop, and the Holy Light list ushered in a large number of changes again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A large number of names dimmed, and the speed this time was much faster than before. Whether it was the Sage Realm experts, geniuses, or a group of old antiques, their eyes were fixed on the rolling death list, and their scalps were tingling. That's right, it was really tingling. 40 names dimmed in this one breath, and the momentum didn't stop. Crazy. They must be crazy. What's going on? Is there a holy beast crisis? So many geniuses actually died at the same time. Look, the geniuses who died this time are all from Manu. The names of the other Manu geniuses are also fading. They must be seriously injured. The spectating geniuses were shocked and trembling, and they were speechless. No, my Manu geniuses, you are the hope of the new generation to take back our territory. Several old antiques from Manu roared at the top of their lungs. Their eyes were bloodshot, and their killing intent was rampant. No, there are new names replacing them. As the names quickly dimmed, everyone clearly saw a few names shoot to the top like arrows released from a bow. Genius List 16665, One Swords Only, Zhendok Shuai. Genius List 15001, Legendary Pill Sage, Zhen Dang. Genius List 13136, God's Descent, Lin Shun. Silence, an eerie silence. Someone squeezed out a sentence from between the gaps of his teeth. Crazy, all of them are crazy. Xuanyu, mysterious yellow tablet. Rumble. The starry sky exploded, and tens of thousands of rays of light shattered. Heaven and earth trembled, and the sea rose. The 10,000-foot-tall mysterious yellow tablet exuded an ancient aura as it absorbed the surging energy waves. Ha ha ha. Old man, you're getting stronger and stronger. You're not bad either. If you want to determine the winner, you'll have to fight a few thousand rounds. Two men, one with a sword and one with a sword, stepped out of the void. These two were the Sword Sage and the Sword Sage. Unless it's a life-and-death battle, it's hard to determine the winner. Looks like we'll have to leave it to each other's disciples. The two shook hands and smiled at each other. At this moment, the golden roll in their arms glowed with golden light. They took out the roll at the same time. My disciple actually died on Rainbow Island. Xiang'er died? What's going on? Barbarian territory. The mountain range meandered like a crouching dragon, like a tiger bearing its fangs, majestic. Barbarian territory was home to a large number of ferocious beasts and many ferocious beast families. This place had been at war for many years, and the war between humans and beasts had not stopped for tens of thousands of years. Barbarian territory was the weakest region of the sacred boundary, and it had almost become the territory of the ferocious beasts. On the mountain peak, 5 figures stood with their hands behind their backs. They were 30 feet tall, and their bodies shone with a dozen bright, star-like holy light. It was as if sacred beasts had turned into humans and shattered the void. In the past 100,000 years, our human race has been declining. This time, a group of amazing geniuses has finally appeared. Those little fellows dare to fight and kill. They'll definitely bring back new fortuitous opportunities. Suddenly, the 5 figures took out the golden roll at the same time to check the situation on the genius roll. After a while, what? Dozens of geniuses have died in barbarian territory. Chapter 10:14. On the Qilin platform, the holy light ranking quickly dimmed as a large number of names disappeared. Not to mention Feng Quan and Yi Mei, all the geniuses were shocked speechless. All the old antiques were dumbfounded. Lynchen again, another King Black Horse Club. The names are still disappearing. My God, how many Manu geniuses have they killed? If this continues, the top 40,000 geniuses of man, you will all die. Crazy, they've gone crazy. Lin Shun and his group are all crazy. Just like the rumors, the people of the Black Horse Club don't care about life and death when they fight. Look at Zhenda Zhang's name. It's dimming at any moment. I'm afraid they're risking their lives to kill the geniuses of Manyu. What kind of demon is hiding in the Black Horse Club? My God, they're killing the geniuses of the genius ranking like chickens. Now, everyone wished they could grow wings and fly to Rainbow Island to see for themselves what was going on. One had to know that these were not the geniuses of the genius ranking in the top 90,000. These were the real geniuses of the 36 domains. All of them had the potential to become saints. A few days ago, they had seen with their own eyes how powerful these geniuses were. Some of them were existences that they could only look up to in their lifetime. Such a monstrous group of people had been killed by Lin Shun and his group like chickens. Mother asterisk Kerr. Why did these little bastards provoke the Black Horse Club? If you want to steal treasures, then do it properly. Why did you provoke Lin Shun, this demon of plague? It's over, it's all over. Manyu is completely annihilated. The few saint realm expert from Manyu wailed in pain and grief. The other saints didn't have it easy either. What they were most worried about now was that their own disciples didn't provoke this demon of plague. Saint One Eyebrow said with a trembling voice, "Things have already gone far beyond our expectations. Perhaps we have thrown a real tiger in sheep's clothing into a flock of sheep." Seiji Fuzumi's expression was solemn. A total of 74 geniuses from Manyu have dimmed. 90% of them have been killed. The remaining ones are half dead. The one brow saint swallowed his saliva with great difficulty. It was unknown whether he was shocked or pleasantly surprised. 3 in Hongtian Hall, 25 in Xuanyu, and 74 in Manyu. They've only just entered Rainbow Island, and this group of brats has already killed over 100 top geniuses. This is a true bloodbath on the genius rankings. These brats have gone crazy from killing. It's impossible for the higher-ups to ignore them. Who knows, even a fourth heaven true Saint Realm expert might come out of seclusion. Inside the arena, the unlucky Manyu geniuses who had been eliminated in the first 4 rounds of the preliminaries breathed a sigh of relief. Damn, luckily I didn't go in. At least I'm still alive. It's better to concentrate on cultivating. Don't think about any fortuitous opportunities. Master is right. This world is too big. Who knows when some super monstrous genius will appear? Even if he doesn't enter the genius rankings, he's still stronger than the other monstrous geniuses. In the void, the saints continue to whisper to each other through voice transmission. The situation has been messed up. These brats have pierced through the sky. The hidden pavilion master, Ing Mie's expression was especially solemn. This is no longer a domain that the 3rd rank and 4th rank sects can interfere in. If the Black Horse Club doesn't have a backer, this group of youngsters will definitely die. The only chance we have left is to take down Lin Shun before those 4th Heaven True Saint Realm old monsters arrive at Kirin Cloud Island. We'll force this fellow to reveal his secrets and then let him go. With our strength and status, we don't even have the qualifications to take his life. Ancestor Ing Tianma's expression was calm, but there was an intense fluctuation in his eyes that was difficult to conceal. Those hidden old monsters might come out of seclusion in person. In the mystic realm, the saints of the various sects and the students of Class 66 were temporarily gathered at the Ice Heart Palace. At this time, everyone from Class 66, including Han Ziyun, Lung Yueqi, Yin Qianyun, and the others, were sitting in the palace with the golden list in their hands. They couldn't calm down for a long time. Even the saints were the same. After a while, Ing Liang swallowed with difficulty. Oh my God, the class monitor is going to turn the 36 regions upside down. This is too terrifying. I don't even dare to think about killing 100 geniuses on the genius rankings in one go. Isn't the class monitor playing too big? Yu Lin Lin and Lu Lin, Er's faces were filled with worry. They had heard the news from Yin Qianyun and her master that Lin Shun had arrived safely in the southern region. However, they hadn't been happy for a few days when such explosive news came. Bai Juanhao pondered for a moment and said seriously, I heard that this is just the beginning of entering Rainbow Island. According to Big Brother's personality, he will never show mercy to any enemy. Shangguan Bihan's expression changed slightly. Juanhao, you mean? Bai Juanhao nodded solemnly like never before. That's right. I'm afraid that this is just the beginning. The news of Big Brother possessing the spiritual plan of Providence has already spread. If the geniuses on Rainbow Island insist on targeting him. As soon as he said this, even the saints present had extremely ugly expressions. If that was the case, the Black Horse Club would continue to kill. They definitely had the strength and courage to do so. There was nothing in this F***king world that these lunatics didn't dare to do. However, they were more worried about Class 66 now. Only they knew that Lin Chen didn't have any power to back him up. He was the only one in the Black Horse Club, going against the forces behind those fallen geniuses by himself. Just thinking about it made their scalps tingle. From the Heavenly Song Academy branch to the Sacred Boundary, they all firmly believed in Lin Chen's strength. However, this time, everyone's hearts were shaken, because what Lin Chen was going to face were ancient sects that had accumulated for countless eras. This was no longer a matter of sending one or two saints. Everyone believed in Lin Chen's potential, but potential wasn't strength. You guys came from the same continent as Lin Chen. Does Lin Chen really not have any backing or the support of a powerful force? The Ice Heart Palace master couldn't help but ask everyone. Everyone looked at each other and shook their heads with bitter smiles. I don't dare to say that he doesn't, but at least as far as we know, we haven't seen the powerful force behind the class monitor appear so far. Ying Liang didn't completely say it out loud and smiled bitterly. At this time, the cold and beautiful Lung Yueqi slowly spoke. All we can do is believe in him. The beautiful woman's delicate hands couldn't help but clench. Lin Chen will definitely break through this predicament. In the past, when Rainbow Island opened, there would also be fierce competition and slaughter between geniuses, but in the end, the former was the majority. Geniuses rarely fought to the death, because it was difficult for either side to completely kill the other. Geniuses had many life-saving trump cards, and if they fought with their lives on the line, even if they killed their opponents, they would have to pay a heavy price. If they weren't careful, they would die on Rainbow Island after being seriously injured. There were countless examples of this. Therefore, without absolute certainty, the geniuses would fight for treasures to determine who was better and who was weaker. After handing over the spoils of war, they would stop in time. If they were killed by someone, it would be by a higher-ranked genius. Generally, as long as it wasn't seen by others, the killed side wouldn't know whose disciple killed their own genius. But this time was different. This time, when Rainbow Island opened, there was Lin Chen, a freak who didn't abide by the rules. In the history of the Sacred Boundary, there had never been such a person who killed without restraint. Even if they didn't give face to a genius, they still had to give face to the forces behind them. Those who challenged the rules and authority were either brave heroes or crazy sinners. At this moment, stormy waves began to rise in the 36 domains, and an unprecedented storm was brewing. Not only the Man Yu, Xuan Yu, and the Southern Domain, but at this moment, all the powerhouses in the 36 domains who were paying attention to the genius ranking received this earth-shattering change. In an extremely short period of time, 100 of the top 30,000 geniuses had died. The Black Horse Club had massacred the genius ranking. The geniuses who died this time were different from the ones in the Tsang Yu Secret Realm. These geniuses all had high potential to become saints. When they massacred the genius ranking in the Tsang Yu Secret Realm, it only caused waves in the 4th-ranked sects at most. But this time, even the 5th-ranked sects and 6th-ranked powerhouses didn't dare to ignore the Black Horse Club. If the Black Horse Club had only caused a small ripple in the vast sea of the Sacred Boundary, then this time it had truly caused a stormy wave, and its name had shaken the Sacred Boundary. Chapter 10:15. Rainbow Island, north of the Blood Plains. Several terrifying bottomless abysses split open, and more than a dozen mushroom clouds rose into the sky. The remaining power was still there, shaking the heaven and earth. 100-meter-long azure dragon flapped its wings and swallowed the bodies of dozens of barbarian realm prodigies. The prodigies within a 100-kilometer radius all stared at Lin Chen's group as if they had seen a ghost. Am I seeing things? Dozens of battle maniacs from barbarian realm are dead. My God, where did these people come from? How is Lin Chen so strong? Is he a god? The dozens of prodigies didn't even dare to fight for the rare treasures. They retreated and looked at Lin Chen's group with fear. If they could kill the barbarian realm prodigies, then they could definitely kill them. No one dared to kill prodigies like this. No one had ever dared to kill prodigies in such a reckless manner. Shunling Shuang seized the opportunity to snatch all the 8th-grade treasures of heaven and earth, peak 7th-grade pill formulas, and top-grade purple-grade pill refinement hand seals that the geniuses were fighting for, and a brilliant smile appeared on her tender little face. The women of the heart-refining palace were still in shock, but they had already surrounded the 10 great beasts. Some of the women held zither and plucked at the strings. Some flew into the air with jade bracelets. Some danced with swords, piercing through the defenses of the great beasts. Received 450 high-grade health points, 4,005 high-grade health points, 2020 grade health points, 1,000 battle chi essence, 2 high-grade wind energy for mid-grade talent points. Lin Shun collected all the elemental light balls dropped by the barbarian realm prodigies, and his pure strength reached 74 million dragon power points. After Lin Shun collected all the barbarian realm prodigy storage rings, he erased his spiritual imprint and looked through them. These barbarian realm prodigies have a lot of treasures in their storage rings. Inside the storage ring, there were a large number of body refining pills and healing pills. More importantly, there were bottles of Saint Beast blood that were surging with energy. There was the blood of the immemorial Golden Wan, the blood of the immemorial Swan and Eye, the blood of the immemorial Qilin, the blood of the immemorial barbaric dragon, and so on. All of them were the blood essence of extremely domineering, super, ferocious beasts. Even though there was only a small amount of blood essence, every single bottle was extremely precious, and it could cleanse the meridians and greatly increase the strength of the body refinement. The geniuses of man used this essence blood to refine their bodies and strengthen their bodies. It was extremely useful to the current Lin Shun. At this moment, a shout attracted Lin Chen's attention. Heaven tier, blood poison. Shua, shua, whoosh. Sun Yuer, who was dressed in a simple dress, looked gentle and lovely. She gently waved her slender hand and summoned a blood-red cloud that was several hundred feet long. Even Lin Chun was shocked by the deadly poison brewing within the blood-colored cloud. The poison turned into blood-red raindrops and dripped onto the surface of all the large dire beasts. They didn't even have a chance to dodge. The blood-red poison seeped into their wounds and entered their bodies. All of them let out miserable roars. Despicable humans. If I had known, I would have swallowed all of you first. Roar. Not only Lin Chun, but all the geniuses who witnessed this scene couldn't help but feel shocked. The 10 ancient dire beasts that were the size of mountains were all corroded and died. This little girl actually has such terrifying strength. No wonder Jiang Yin insisted that she enter Rainbow Island. Lin Chun was secretly speechless. He could only see that Sun Yuer's physique was a bit special after the other party attacked. Lin Chun had seen poison experts before, such as Beauty of 1,000 Poisons, Lu Lin. However, compared to Sun Yuer, she was still somewhat inferior. However, this move also had its drawbacks. When Sun Yuer used this killer move, she had to have someone by her side to protect her. Moreover, it took a long time to charge up. Just its lethality alone was more harmful than beneficial. Sun Yuer, who was fighting alone, could be easily defeated by any of the geniuses who entered Rainbow Island. HM? Damn, there's so many attribute light balls. When Lin Chun approached the core battlefield of the Blood Plains, he realized that the ground was littered with chi and blood attribute light balls and dire beast corpses. There were many high-tier dire beasts that died in battle. After they died, they dropped high-tier chi and blood attribute light balls. Moreover, they were still dropping and accumulating at a high speed. However, their dire beast cores had been dug out. After taking these attribute light balls and combining them with a large amount of Long King Wo, I have stored in the precious blood of ancient dire beasts, the Dragon Emperor and I will have hope of reaching 80 million dragon power points. Lin Chun was excited. The Dragon Emperor used his ability to refine the bodies of the barbarian realm geniuses while crazily collecting the chi and blood attribute light balls on the ground. Received 3,334 high-tier chi and blood, 1,002 high-tier chi and blood, 2,991 high-tier chi and blood, 2059 high-tier chi and blood. Lin Chun's high-tier chi and blood attribute value skyrocketed. Both his main body and the Dragon Emperor were charging toward the domain of a fifth tribulation physique, refining Emperor. The Dragon Emperor would only be qualified to participate in the fight for Rainbow Island after reaching 80 million dragon power points. Otherwise, with its current combat power, it would have no problem challenging an ordinary 5th Tribulation War Emperor. However, if it wanted to challenge someone ranked over 20,000 or even 10,000 on the Prodigy ranking, it would only take 1 or 2 rounds. It would not be able to withstand it at all. Unfortunately, my doppelganger and the Dragon Emperor are of the same origin as me and can be contaminated by the island vitality. However, Little Shadow does not. If it is killed by Rainbow Island, it will be finished, Lin Chun lamented. If he could release Little Shadow, all the supreme-grade treasures here would be Lin Chun's. It was enough to escape the pursuit of a Saint Realm expert. No war emperor could resist it. Your Excellency Lin Chun, the 8th grade embryonic elixir, is in our hands. This time, we have to thank you for your help. Otherwise, all of us would have been seriously injured and returned empty-handed. Therefore, you should be the first to choose the embryonic elixir. Jiang Yin stepped on the air and smiled at Lin Chun. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a strong sense of curiosity. It's okay. These guys' target was originally me. Lin Chun smiled indifferently. He reached out and touched the 8th grade embryonic elixirs in the jade box, absorbing the spirit attribute value in the 2 elixirs. Received 40 points of high-grade spirit, 60 points of high-grade spirit. In an instant, Lin Chun's spirit attribute value increased by 100 points. The spiritual bridge in his spiritual sea was brewing a spiritual storm. It was approaching the peak of the Heaven Ascension realm and was faintly showing signs of a qualitative change. Lin Chun randomly chose an 8th grade embryonic elixir from the 2 elixirs and then looked around. At this moment, the main battlefield of the Blood Plain had moved to the east. The speed of the Yellow Rainbow Bridge's descent had slowed down a lot. Miss Jiang Yun, if we work together, we should have a happy ending. Lin Chun and Jiang Yun looked at each other and smiled tacitly. The 2 of them hit it off and led their respective teams to the battlefield in the east. On the way, Sun Yue sized up Lin Chun's clone, Jundak Shui, from time to time. This made the girls of the heart-refining palace laugh and blush. The 2 teams fought fiercely and were victorious. After a day and a night of fighting, the Dragon Emperor refined the body and bloodline of the Man Eugenius. The Dragon Emperor opened up 8 million dragon veins and officially advanced. Chapter 10:16. The Dragon Emperor's dragon energy finally stopped at 81. 1 million points. Although it seemed like there was a difference of about 1 million points, the Dragon Emperor's Holy Phoenix Wings, Azure Dragon Sword, Azure Dragon Domain, and other mystical abilities had undergone a drastic transformation. With the addition of the Dragon Emperor to the battle team, Lin Chun's group's morale rose again. The ferocious beasts they killed allowed Lin Chun's Sovereign's Descent talent to accumulate 13 million points of energy. Along the way, he snatched 32 supreme-grade rare treasures with attribute points, such as elixir recipes, elixir refining handprints, and level 8 medicinal herbs. After snatching the attribute points, he split the loot equally with the refining heart palace. And the high-grade vitality attribute points he collected along the way made Lin Chun even more rich. As the team went deeper, Lin Chun killed his way to the main battlefield on the east side of the plains. And there were 10 major battlefields, all of which were occupied by super geniuses. And the most intense battlefields were the teams of the 100 Saints Gate and Sun Moon Hall. Just as Lin Chun and the others entered, their gazes suddenly shot toward them from tens of thousands of feet away. Lin Chun, Orient Yao. The moment their gazes met, their killing intent skyrocketed. Ignore this guy for now. Snatch this set of seals and pill recipes. I have a feeling that this jade scroll is not an ordinary item. Sun Moon Hall's white-clothed young master scolded the geniuses of the 100 Saints Gate. With the two of them working together, they were almost always successful. Only a small number of teams could barely contend with Sun Moon Hall and the 100 Saints Gate. At this time, their opponents were a large team made up of more than 50 geniuses. Although they had more people than Sun Moon Hall and the 100 Saints Gate, their strength and cooperation were far inferior. They were almost completely suppressed. They tried to find opportunities to snatch the ball of light jade scroll several times, but they never succeeded. The ball of light jade scroll with the seal moved again and again, and then fell into the void again and again. Whoever obtained it would immediately become the target of public criticism. If the seal couldn't be removed, it couldn't be stored in the storage ring. The items these guys are snatching have such high attribute points. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. This was the first time he had seen the attribute light within the ball of light since he entered Rainbow Island. He had his eyes on the Sun Moon Hall and the 100 Saints Gate. How about it, Prince Lin Chen? Do you want to fight? Jiang Yun from the Heart Refining Palace asked seriously. She had been impressed by this young man's methods and boldness during the recent battles. She had basically followed Lin Chen's lead. Now, even if they were to face the Sun Moon Hall, they would not back down. You guys from the Heart Refining Palace, hold off the 100 Saints Gate. Leave those bastards from the Sun Moon Hall to us. Lin Chen took a deep breath. Shun Ling Shuang clenched her small fist and said, Master, don't worry. This time, I will help you beat them up. Silly girl, protect yourself first, Lin Chun said with a smile. His heart was a little heavy. There were 12 geniuses from the 100 Saints Gate and 30 geniuses from the Sun Moon Hall. The geniuses from the Sun Moon Hall were very strong. There were 4 super geniuses from the 100 Saints Gate that were ranked within 10300. One of them was Orient Yao, and there were 9 super geniuses from the Sun Moon Hall that were ranked within 10,300. To put it bluntly, any one of these 9 people could suppress Lin Chun. They were not inferior to the red-robed youth from the Hongtian Hall, not to mention the other 22 top geniuses. Most of them were ranked within the top 10,000. None of them were weak. Under normal circumstances, Lin Chen's move was akin to seeking death. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was a mayfly trying to shake a tree. Everyone set up the Mortal Heart refining formation. Under Jiang Yun's command, the 14 women from the Heart Refining Palace formed a hexagonal formation. The hexagonal formation rotated in the air. It was filled with red light and pink, protecting Sun Yuer. At the same time, Jiang Yun pointed with her slender finger. Hundreds of red lights shot down from the sky and crashed into the geniuses from the 100 Saints Gate. Women from the Heart Refining Palace? You are all courting death. Orient Yao sneered. The 7th grade peak sword in his hand was instantly replaced by the colored glaze sacred sword. Sword devours the firmament. Orient Yao raised his sword and shot out a white ball-like sword light. It was extremely strange. Wherever it passed, the air collapsed and exploded. All the vitality was devoured. Wind cloud, killing finger. Boundless great palm. The geniuses from 100 Saints Gate changed their target and attacked together with their senior brother. The battle between the two sides was about to start. The Heart Refining Palace only had one super genius, Jiang Yun. However, they relied on the formation to resist the 100 Saints' Gate. 3 vanishing shadow, flying daggers slashed at the white-clothed young man's back. A blue beam of light that was hundreds of feet wide slammed toward him. An enemy attack? The white-clothed young man narrowed his eyes. His hands were burning with surging battle aura. His left hand was like the bright moon, and his right hand was like the blazing sun. His hands grabbed the air behind him at lightning speed and destroyed the beam of light and the 3 flying daggers. You caught the vanishing shadow flying daggers with your bare hands? Lin Chun was shocked. This guy's strength was not as simple as his ranking. Oh, so it's you, little aphid? I haven't gone to look for you, and you've come to me yourself. The white-clothed young man smiled coldly. His right hand was burning like the blazing sun. He clenched his fist and crushed Lin Chen's 3 flying daggers. Since you're courting death, don't blame me. Qin Xian, Qin Zhen, Qin Chao, Qin Yun, Xia Hong, Imperial Wind, and Mo Feng, and Jian Tian, follow me and suppress the people around this kid. The rest of you continue to deal with the other guys. Don't let them get close to the Jade Scroll. The white-clothed young man suddenly shouted. 8 figures shot out like swords. They were all super geniuses ranked within 10,300. Lin Chen's 5 doppelgangers activated their movement techniques. The 8 transformations and the ultimate moment talent were fully activated. Lin Chen and all his doppelgangers at 99 million dragon power points broke through to 80 million dragon power points. Master, I'll help you. Shun Lingshuang's delicate body turned into a rainbow. Her fists were like fierce dragons. Her battle aura burned the sky. Her figure flew into the sky. She was planning to stop the other 2 with her own strength. This last wants to fight 2 alone? Heh, is she looking down on my Sun Moon Hall? The 2 geniuses rushed over like saber winds. One of them clashed head-on with Shun Lingshuang, and the saber winds swept across the area. Chi rays flashed and blocked Shun Lingshuang forcefully, while the other genius rushed towards Lin Chen. Whoosh! A green light swayed like a pillar of light. Ning Qingshuan's dress fluttered as she blocked the second genius. The dragon monarch revealed his true form, and as he flapped his sacred phoenix wings, he twisted his dragon body at an extremely fast speed. He swung his dragon tail, and with a rolling azure edge, he slashed down diagonally like a sword, blocking the third genius. Whoosh! 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 The 5 clones, including the Jundak Shuai, blocked the remaining 5 geniuses and the strongest white-clothed young man. All the clones grabbed at the void. Boom! The air roared, and 6 grayish-white talismans appeared. Activated level 6 slow talisman. Consumed 80 points of high-grade talisman energy. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.